England's undefeated batsmen are walking out towards the middle. Joe Root just ahead of Dom Sibley. And let's see if there's a change at all to Pakistan's tactics, the field placings, whatever it might be. But certainly that deep mid-wicket for the leg spinner to Sibley does seem...
Especially to Sibley. I mean, Root improvises, he gets down on one knee and he sweeps sometimes in front of square. But I don't think that's Sibley's way of operating. But we're in a great situation where every boundary, almost every run, you feel it tilts the balance of the match, and a wicket would tilt it back very quickly in the other direction.
Mohammad Abbas is changing ends, actually. He's bowled all his overs from the far end, and he's now going to come on and we'll have a look at him and his wobble seam from behind.
Well, that will be interesting. And I suspect that for some reason Yasir Shah had his success bowling from the Jimmy Anderson end, so he wants to go up that end. There's not much breeze actually today. It shouldn't make a huge amount of difference for the seam bowlers, I don't think. But we've watched him run towards us. It'd be interesting. You get a better view of the ball, don't you?
Oh, yes.
Behind the arm, and to see how much is moving and what he's up to.
Well, off we go. The target's 277. England have 55 on the board for the loss of Burns, who is out LBW, for 10 to Mohammad Abbas, who's bowling now from this end. So a change of ends. He goes over the wicket and bowls, and Root pushes the first ball from off stump into the offside and finds Shah Masood fielding at point. So we've got two slips. Shadab, I think, will return into the gully there. He's running round at the moment. There he goes. Point, extra cover and mid-off. Suggests a little bit mindful there, that extra cover there of runs. Mid-on, mid-wicket and a long leg. So that's the field. And Root bending at the knee, taps the bat a few times, then he'll stand up as Abbas moves into him now and bowls, and he plays that from around middle stump this time, straighter, with a little bit of a flick of the bat down to mid-on. That's Shaheen Afridi fielding there, so the two tallest men on the field at the moment, actually, involved in fielding those first two balls of the afternoon session. Shaheen bowled a lively spell early on without taking a wicket, but he's 6'6". And Abbas is polishing the ball on his trousers, turns, reveals the number 38 in light green on his back. Off he goes, bowls, oh, a beauty, and they're peeling for a catch behind. I didn't hear anything. And Root isn't going anywhere. The umpire's given it not out. They're having a conversation. It was a beautiful ball. It certainly moved away, but my view from here was it did too much. I don't think they're going to review this. Time's ticking away. It's got to naught, and they're not going to, but it was a cracking ball.
Yeah, again, perfect length, wobble seam. It did leave him. And they went up very quickly. And we will report on whether Snicko...
I think at Root's reaction, Root started to look back as well.
He did. Let's have a look.
After a bit of a guilty sign, but nothing there.
No, nothing there. Whether it flicks something after the bat, well, I'm not sure, but it's certainly, there's nothing on the screen as it passed the bat.
I don't think the bowler was convinced either. And he goes. Bowls, and Root again, a little opened up. Plays that ball from off stump towards the leg side, and Mohammad Abbas is having some words, and he was certainly the one who upset Rory Burns as he departed, and I think he's a little chirp there to Joe Root as well, who just smiled back at him.
Well, it's been the friendly summer really so far. Actually, I was watching the England-Ireland match down the JS Bowl, and it is slightly different in one-day cricket, and it doesn't work quite so well, at least on the evidence of those three games, I don't think.
Abbas again runs in, bowls, and Root's got him away. And he'll get 4 for that through square leg. That's a perfect answer to a little bit of chirping from the bowler. Hit him to the boundary, that'll shut him up.
That's a lovely shot, that. Anyway, it's been a very congenial, well-contested, fiercely contested series, whether it's West Indies or Pakistan, but there's been nothing much untoward. And then I think one of the Irish bowlers, Josh Little, gave Johnny Bairstow, I believe it was Johnny Bairstow, send off, and Johnny turned round as he was said. And he got penalised or demerit points. But actually, you shouldn't say this, but it kind of livened things up a bit, and you quite welcomed a bit of anger.
59 for 1. Abbas runs in, bowls outside Root's off stump, and lets the last ball of that over go. And again, Abbas is having a little chunter there over his shoulders. Funny, of all the fast bowlers that we've seen, opening bowlers who we've seen this summer, I think the least likely to have a bantery word with Mohammad Abbas. He runs in very quietly.
No, I don't agree with that, because
spiky.
I've always had the theory that the mouthy ones are those who lack extreme pace. You go back in our time, I keep mentioning Robin, Jackman, Paul Allen, not express pace. They like to have a word, did they not?
Yes.
Malcolm Marshall, Andy Roberts, Michael Holding never said a word. Curtly Ambrose didn't open their mouths. I can't remember about you.
That's not a bad
Well, that's
theory,
because you were so quick.
That's not a bad theory.
But no, it's always the medium pacers who who can't really terrify you with a bouncer.
Gordon Parsons.
So their tongue sets to work.
Yes.
I'm convinced that is.
On his side bottom.
Was he?
Yeah, he'd have a word.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he wasn't quite express pace.
I think you're onto something there.
No, I know I am. Except for there are.
Here's Yasser Shah starting from the other end. Oh, and he almost bowls Sibley first ball. And Yasser can't believe it. He's holding his head in his hands. Sibley played no stroke, expecting the ball to spin away sharply. It must just have skidded on a little bit, as similar to the Butler ball, but I guess.
Yeah, well, it was a couple inches just.
It's not
a bit
badly.
tight.
Yeah.
There are exceptions to every rule, of course. Dennis Lilly, I think, liked to have a word, but Tomo hardly ever said a word.
No, that's
Jeff
true.
Thompson.
There's the next one from Yasser. It sends Sibley onto the back foot, a little bit short from the wrist spinner. 59 for 1. The target's 277.
And I'm not even sure that Merv Hughes was express pace, but he liked to engage.
Certainly did.
Mike Whitney, he'd like to have a word. He wasn't express pace. So the theory stands.
Yasser bowls. Sibley plays from the crease. Rizwan picks the ball up and tosses it away.
Alan
59
Donald
for
didn't
1.
say much, did he?
No, he didn't.
So there we go. That's theory looking good at the moment.
Theory.
I'm sure there's a chart Saltzman's got. Sledging fast bowlers.
I think adds sort of miles per hour.
Yeah. The more.
Yasser bowls, that turns, but again it's too short. Sibley can easily stand up and tap that away.
Yes, there's a ratio between miles per hour and words spoken, and the more the miles per hour, the fewer the words.
59 for 1.
The inverse gobbiness quotient.
That's right.
Yasser moves in, bowls. Oh, that's better. And they're appealing for a catch behind a lovely length. And he's given him, finally. And Sibley's going to review it. So, well, it took a long time for umpire Kettleman to give that out. But there was
TV
a huge
umpire
appeal.
to director. We have a player review for caught behind. On-field decision is out. It's a fair delivery. Can we have front on spin vision, please?
Well, Sibley reviewed it immediately. He's convinced that he hasn't hit
Spun
this.
a long way.
He's missed it by miles, I think.
Unless it's brushed his glove.
Seems though he's missed it from that angle. Can I confirm that with Ultra Edge, please?
I think he's missed it by miles.
Rolling all the way through, please.
It's brushed his
Yeah,
pad.
just keep going through.
It's
Make
brushed
sure
the
to
top
miss
of his
pad
right
as well, all
pad.
the way through. Yeah, keep going all the way through, please. Yeah, just want all the way past the pads as well, please. Yeah, okay. No bat involved, so ready to go back on field to Richard. Richard, no bat involved. Please overturn your decision.
Missed it by a long way.
He's very good, Michael Goff, as a third umpire, but he's also extremely clear. And, I hope he keeps umpiring, because I think he could do this job quite well, too.
Yes.
He missed that by a mile.
Here's the next one. Short. Oh, he gets Rizwan snatched at the ball there as Sibley missed it. Perhaps a bit unsettled about having been given out. That wasn't a good shot.
No.
Rizwan had to juggle as he took it. 59 for 1. It just shows the tension and what can happen out there. That was a terrible shot. 59 for 1.
I mean, the ball that Sibley was given out to was a serious delivery, wasn't it?
Yes.
That turned a lot,
Yes.
and it turned quite quickly.
Too much, really.
And I can't quite work out why the finger went up, because it didn't seem to touch anything as it went through to the gloves. But another, we don't need them now, but validation of the system.
Yeah. I'm surprised Kettleby gave that out because he's made a mistake, but it's a very sound umpire.
Yeah. He took a long time too. I don't think Sibley thought he was going to give him out, and Sibley immediately reviewed.
Now the wicketkeeper's standing up to the stumps as Abbas starts a new over. Bowls to Root outside the off stump. He leans back and cracks him for 4. Down through the vacant third man. Shah Massoud can chase that all he likes. He's not going to catch that. So just dropping a little bit short. Very nicely put away by Root.
Yeah, he's played 2 lovely shots since lunch. A clip off his legs, and now that was width, and you might have left that on another day, but no, he's got to take those chances, and he got on top of it. He scores a lot of runs in that square third man area.
Width and short, not a good ball. 2 slips in the gully. The first slip to view probably slightly impeded by the wicketkeeper standing up, but he's making sure that Joe Root is batting within his crease. And he goes Abbas and bowls, and just nicely played by Root. And a typical Abbas channel, middle and off stump, the perfect length. Root's doing some gardening now, a bit of a twiddle of the bat. As Abbas walks slowly back again, gets a slap on the back from Shaheen Afridi as he does so. Mops his brow, applies a sweat to the ball. A couple of rubs. He's got quite a distinctive rubbing action actually, Abbas. It's quite a little flurry, only 2 or 3 rubs. And he goes again over the wicket, bowls on that leg stump, and clipped away to mid-wicket by Root. 63 for 1. Ben Stokes, I see, looking on intently from the dressing room. Mane of hair swept back under that band. Root tapping away there with the bat. Bus swings round. This leisurely approach, rather plods in, and he's there and he bowls, and Root forward. Plays out of the middle of the bat, out to cover. Again, the silence of the bowler runs in, the bat you can hear hitting the ball, and then this cacophony starts. So it was a no ball. It does take a long time for this to be called, but that was a no ball, so 1 more goes to the score. I guess sometimes the third umpire has to see a replay himself to make sure that it is a no ball.
It was a no ball, but it was quite tight. I think third umpires will be putting in for a pay rise.
I think they will. Abbas over the wicket, bowls to Root, who guides that into the gully. Diving save from Shadab there. 64 for 1. Root on 26, Sibley 26. So England need 219. No, they don't. They need 213. Target's 277. More sweat applied. Then you have a funny little rub on his trousers. He hasn't bothered that time. He's kept one side a little moist. Off he goes over the wicket. Bowls, and Root again finds that probing line and length. He gets forward to it. Well fielded in the covers.
This stage of the game, it's not so much about bowling in the corridor as bowling at the stumps, middle and off stump, because you always feel LBW he's not going to go above the stumps very often now at this stage of the game with an older ball, Abbas, so he attacks the stumps. Anything that hits those pads is going to be close.
Last ball of the over. He moves in now. Bowls to Root, exactly the same place. Root with a beautifully straight bat plays it to the onside, down to mid-on. The end of the over. 64 for 1. Root 26. Sibley 26. The target's 277. I think Yasser might be starting to think, I bowled 6 overs now on a pitch that I know is taking quite a lot of spin, and I got wickets in the first innings. When am I going to get my first one here?
Well, it will relax him. It relaxed him so much in that first innings. He did bowl, it was a good over. He bowled to Sibley. Thought he had him. Caught behind, but he didn't hit it. Turned a long way.
Yasser comes in, bowls to Sibley, who's forward. The ball creeps away into the leg side.
Still got that deep mid-wicket to Sibley, which, that really is for a long hop. So I don't see Sibley hitting it there otherwise.
Abadali's at short leg. Shafiq is at slip. But yes, deep mid-wicket, deep backward square leg and a deep point. Yasser moves in, bowls to Sibley. It's well forward there. Very dead bat. 64 for 1. Yasser pauses for a moment, spins himself a catch. It becomes again quite long-haired. He bowls outside the off stump. That kept it a little bit low to turn. Sibley had nothing to do with it. 64 for 1. Almost entirely leg spin from Yasser.
Yeah, he might bowl a straight ball. The one that got Butler was a sort of barely spun and therefore came straight. But if you're spinning a lot of the others...
Yasser again. Bowls and Sibley, well, doesn't play a defensive shot. A bit more to it than that. He pushed through the line a bit. And Yasser looks at him quizzically as he fielded the ball. Again, rubbing, polishing hard on his trousers. Sibley again. Waits. Yasser bowls, turns forward, pushing out to cover. I think all the club cricketers today were listening to this noise, thinking that's what they do in Test cricket. Right, come on, chaps, let's go out there today against Ufford Park and give them a bit of stick. It's amazing what you don't hear when there's a crowd in. Yasser again moves in, bowls, and Sibley's hit that quite firmly. Actually, it hit Abadali on the boot. Runs away for a single to the leg side. So it's that 1 run off the over. 65 for 1.
I love the story of your friend and mine, although he's knocking on a bit now, Robin Marler,
yes.
when he was president of the MCC. And he went to the Parks, and the university were playing against some other team. And the MCC were sponsoring university cricket as well. And there was a constant noise, and he was sitting in the pavilion, every ball. And at some point he walked out onto the pitch and told them all, "You've got to shut up. That's too much." Only Robin could do that.
They would, yes, absolutely. Greetings, Robin, if you're listening. Sibley paws at the ground. He's going to face Abbas. Has dealt with him okay so far.
Well, the key thing is you've got to hit it. You can't, you've got to make sure your pad's out the way. Root's been doing that extremely well. You've got to use your bat because he's so straight.
Abbas bowls outside the off stump. And Sibley lets it go. He's got to bowl a bit straighter than that. But, if you bowl middle and off, Sibley, he is in a vulnerable position.
Well, Root was batting outside his crease, so the keeper stood up. Now, for Sibley, the keeper's gone back. I think he stays in his normal position anyway, Sibley. But so far done a valuable job for England.
His back foot's on the popping crease by the look of it from here.
Yeah.
65 for 1. Abbas runs in, bowls to him, and comes cutting back a little. Sibley's got it away. Bit of overcompensation there from Abbas. So 1 more to Sibley to long leg. 66 for 1. The target's 277. Ben Stokes in next. Pope and Butler.
I think the batsmen have got to get it, don't you? So, you can't rely too much on the tail in these taut circumstances with the ball, with 2 wrist spinners and the ball doing a little bit, and 2 fast bowlers who are not being overly used so far.
66 for 1. Root waits. The keeper's standing up there again now, and Root just waits for the ball to arrive. Plays it carefully into the offside. We're cloudy now, as Alina promised it might be. She gave us her weather forecast this morning, but it's very warm. No breeze. None of the flags that I could see are even flicking. 66 for 1. Now there's reshuffling there in the slip cord, and that second slip has moved round a bit, so he's more like 4th. And there's a genuine gully now and a backward point. Abbas on his way. He bowls to Root, who's on that back foot, steering the ball firmly into that favourite area of his. Shadab is fielding in the gully. But otherwise, around the ground, Nothing to see. There are a few Pakistanis in the nets on the left-hand side.
It's not the sort of ground where you can peer over a wall if you're
No.
walking down a nearby road, is it? It's too far away. It's
I suspect
a big complex.
Henry might spot a bus or two passing down one of the roads.
Yeah.
In goes a bat and bowls, and from wider of the crease, that's angled in. And Root plays it very circumspectly again, getting onto the front foot, playing out to cover. One ball to go. It's given him nothing so far. 66 for 1. City of Manchester over to the right as we look out. All very quiet. Of course, this part of the world is in a lockdown at the moment.
So they tell us. We don't know.
But it's incredible to think that beyond the gates this is a lockdown. Wide of the crease now, and he bowls outside the off stump. Root doesn't get hold of this, trying to force the ball off the back foot, and finds instead slip on the first bounce. So 66 for 1. We've had 20 minutes since the lunch interval. The target's 277. Root is 26. Sibley has 28. More thoughts from Victor, and then Dan Norcross is coming in.
Well, you're right. The main incident, I suppose, was when Sibley was given out, caught behind off Yasser Shah, immediately reviewed. It was a sharp turning leg break, but the review demonstrated that actually he didn't get very close to his bat, or anything else for that matter. Other than that, I mean, we've had 2 boundaries from Root, and then a lot of high-quality bowling, well defended, really. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Victor. Yazir Shah starts a new over from the Anderson end. Sibley in. To Sibley, who glides this off the outside half of his bat down to the
That's
third man
4.
boundary. He's going to get 4 for it.
Well, I think that was a
beautiful
intended
shot,
shot,
yes.
yeah.
As I said, I think exactly. He sort of opened the face of the bat and he got it to the left of point, and it's run down to the boundary. It was. He did that off the quicker bowler. Was it Nazim Shah, I think, before lunch? He played a similar shot through the gully area from our end, the Statham end, down to third man there. And he's finding that backward of square drive nicely. 70 for 1, England advance to.
Just slightly over pitch. He's got full value for the stroke. There is a sweeper out there, square cut.
Just in front of square. As the ball is drifting away and spinning into the gloves of Mohammad Rizwan. Left alone by Sibley, there's no run. You're moderately out of breath because Michael Vaughan was telling a story about how his coach used to take him to court every morning, and I was just...
Take him to court.
I know, and I don't know, I'm going to have to get back to find out what it was, and then I looked up and realised it was 1 minute to 2, and so
Had to come and talk
I've pelted, yes. Yazir Shah in, and Sibley defends into the offside, backward point, and there's no run. 70 for 1 in the 28th over. Clouds are plentiful, but as I say, not rain-bearing. The wind is coming from a completely different direction today, the opposite direction. As Yazir is in, it's again spinning sharply, but well left by Sibley. Spotted the leg break and let it go by. Pitch not far outside off stump, so had it been the wrong one, he'd have been in trouble, but it wasn't. And
Well, he doesn't really bowl many wrong ones. He bowls a straight one, perhaps, but he doesn't seem to have his wrong one with him at the moment. Famous last words, of course.
As defending the next ball is Sibley, back up to the bowler. Yazir Shah, there's no run, full ball.
By contrast, we've seen Shadab deliver a potent little wrong one.
Yes, so I suppose you can play it on that basis for the most part.
It helps a bit if you can be certain.
Sibley drives square of the wicket again. It was backward of square, off a thicker outside edge this time, but it's snaffled by Shadab Khan, moving to his left, and there's no run. End of the over, just that 4 from it. 70 for 1, Root 26, Sibley 32. Because the wind's coming from a completely different direction, does that change the options, presumably, for which ends the bowlers want? And so far, in fact, in every game we've had, the wind has come from left to right from where we're sitting. And today, what breeze there is, and it's not a stiff one,
It's not.
is from right to left. I mean, it's stiff enough for the flags to be visible.
Yeah, I think, a lot of bowlers, right-handed bowlers, generally prefer the breeze, a little breeze from leg to off. Certainly off-spinners would. Anyone who hopes to bowl away swing might prefer that. But the breeze is minimal. So it shouldn't make much difference today.
And we get to see Mohamed Abbas from our end, which is nice, because as he's been running in towards, it's been a bit tricky. The keeper's standing up. It's an extraordinary field. I'll tell you more after this ball. And Root gets a thick leading edge, looking to turn the ball into the offside. And it squirts off his leading edge to backward point where it's fielded. There's no run. There were oohs and ahs. We've got a wide first slip, perhaps even wider than normal because the keeper's standing up. And then 2 gullies and a backward point. The backward point's only pretty much looking over the right shoulder of the squarer of the 2 gullies. So it's
in the air, that's it.
Yeah, it's there that Abbas is looking to get the wicket. And he nearly did then.
It's just, we went to the right of the squarer gully.
Hands went to heads. Abbas in. Root clips this, tries to clip it into the onside and gets in a bit of a tangle. The ball balloons to a short square leg where it's picked up. There's no run. There's a bit more hum and murmur now about Pakistan. Mohamed Abbas is just getting the ball to do stuff awkwardly, nibbling around, and with the keeper standing up as well, there's that sense of claustrophobia. There's that sort of
And I
bug.
think Root's just getting a little bit edgy. There's 2 full deliveries that he thought he might be able to score off. In fact, he hasn't middled either.
Here comes Abbas. Root flexes his knees, waits, and then lets this go by. Brilliant diving stop at first slip. You may wonder how's that happened. When a ball's bounced off the keeper's knee, I think, who's standing up, and first slip has leapt to his left to ensure there are no byes. No, it's off his gloves, actually. It's very difficult standing up to Abbas. I mean, Mohamed Rizwan took an incredible one in the first innings. Do you remember? It was wide of the off stump. He had to dive full length. He's got great hands, but
He used his hands to clap first slip. We saved 4 byes there.
yeah. I mean, it's a tricky task, but it's posing problems for Root. He's got to stay in his crease. Forward in defence he comes, solidly and watchfully. Up to Azhar Ali at mid-off. There's no run. There's just there's a feeling descending. I'm sort of peering more forward at the moment. I feel like something may happen. How many overs has Abbas bowled since lunch? This is
his fourth since lunch.
I mean, one of the wonders of the game is that, you know, fast ball, wrist, but here's Mohamed Abbas. Ostensibly, he's bowling about 78 miles an hour. No great pace, but he's posing all sorts of problems.
I say Mohamed Asif to you.
Yeah.
In comes Abbas, defended again, very watchfully by Root. He knows this is an important moment, and he plays it up to mid-on.
Well, I think he
No
knows
run.
in any long innings, so they tell me, you know, you have moments where batting seems straightforward and moments where it's suddenly a struggle. Root's been out there a while now, but I just feel he's in a little period of struggle.
Well,
He's stuck at Abbas's end. He thinks he might have missed the odd scoring opportunity. We've got that leading edge. Seemed like a half volley almost, but not quite. And he hasn't scored for a while.
Here comes Abbas. And Root pushes into the offside. That classic Root shot just dabs it to point. There's no run. 70 for 1. 29 overs have been bowled. Root 26, Sibley 32. A very testing maiden from Mohamed Abbas. It's a new round of games in the Bob Willis Trophy. At the top of the table clash between Leicestershire and Derbyshire. Those are the words you hear in COVID world. At Grace Road, Leicestershire 105 for 4. Johnny Bairstow was out for 5. Yorkshire 105 for 4 at Nottinghamshire, identical score. Somerset going a little bit better now. They're 91 for 6 against Northants. Tom Banton made 18. Alistair Cook still going. 42 not out for Essex, who are 94 for 3 against Surrey. And commentary on every game on the BBC Sport website and app is available. You can also find the scorecards and the text commentary. It's cricket all the way between sort of now and November on the BBC. Well, it is amazing.
November.
I mean, yes, November. Yes, I meant that. Yes, yes, we've got these tests, still 2 more test matches, more Bob Willis Trophy, T20 Blast, IPL. BBL will be starting, and the WBBL, of course. That'll be sort of November
running
and
out
December.
of consonants.
Yeah.
He's going to bowl Yasir Shah. He's going to bowl round the wicket for the
WKRP.
first time.
Yes, round the wicket to Sibley. Sibley defends on the front foot, pushes up to the offside. So we have a silly point slip Man on the 45, Shadab. Deep backward square leg, backward point, extra cover. Deepish mid-off. There's a sort of push and go there, possibly. Wide mid-on and a mid-wicket about 30 yards in from the boundary. That's turned massively. But from round the wicket, he's not going to threaten LBW, and Sibley's able to let that go by, and it spun so sharply. It started outside leg and was taken by first slip. There'll be some footmarks there for him to bowl into, so Sibley's just going to be a bit careful here. He's opening his stance slightly. Well, he is open, but he leaves the next ball and it cannons off his pad and runs down to backward point. No run. Feels like this could be a bit of a stalemate-y sort of angle, this.
Yeah. I mean, Sibley has kicked the last couple, which he's perfectly entitled to do. If it pitches outside leg stump.
Yazir in again, bustles in. And again he kicks away the ball to Sibley, and I wonder how long this will.
Well, in a sense, you know, in an effort to keep Sibley quiet, they're coming round the wicket and bowling into the rough. He's had hit
Does
him
it
for
take
a
a
boundary.
great effort to keep Sibley quiet?
Well, he conceded a boundary in his last over
That's
to
true.
Sibley.
That's true. But short legs come back in, so
Yeah.
silly point's gone off. I think that's a good move if he were to use the bat. And he does use the bat and plays this into the onside. It was a bit shorter this time.
It might have been
Short leg
sort of
fields, no run.
as close to a googly as he gets. I think that was,
Yeah.
that one, you know, it wasn't a big leg break.
70 for 1 England. One ball left in this Yazir Shah over. Sibley, well, he lets that go and then it balloons over first slip, runs down towards the boundary, but because no shot was offered, there's no run to be taken. It's 2 maidens. That one of slightly less incident. I suppose the incident really is that Yazir has decided to come round the wicket, and you might as well explore, but...
I mean, if you come round the wicket, Richie Benaud famously, they've won a test match here as recently as 1961.
the one that won the Ashes for
in
Australia.
1961
Yeah.
by England seemed to be in control of a final innings run chase, and as a last resort, because they didn't do it very often in those days, or not so often, Benaud came round the wicket and ended up with 6 for 70. So
Was kicking the ball away not an option then? Or was that a bit more
you could
bounce?
do. You were
perhaps, but
allowed to
bounce
kick
and
it away, I
spin?
think.
Mohamed Abbas runs in and Root defends. Another full straight ball zeroing in on the stumps, but he defends it solidly, holds the pose. Ball goes back to the bowler.
I think
There's no
Peter
run.
May was bowled behind his legs, sweeping.
Not sleeping.
Sweeping. I think Closey left-hander hold out somewhere. Anyway, it was an epic Australian victory. Benaud taking 6. And England collapsing from about 130 for 1.
It's crucial. It's a 4th in the series, I think. Abbas is into Root, who works his into the onside, but he can't beat the mid-wicket, who trots to his right to field, because it was Australia held the Ashes, didn't they, after 58-9, and then you've got the scorecard there. Of course you have, Andy. How ridiculous! Yeah.
Yes,
Of course
England
you
were
have.
chasing 256 to win and had reached 150 for 1 with Dexter in full flow, 76 and 84 minutes. And he was out. Peter May followed for a duck, and England lost their last 9 wickets for 51 to lose the game by 54 runs.
And it was ultimately decisive because that gave Australia a 2-1 lead with 1 game to go. Oh, that's in, and that pops on Root. Oof, that's startled him. It was from a similar length to that which he's been bowling hitherto, and it's just exploded off the pitch. Really well played by Root in the end. He managed to ride it and play it down into the onside. And didn't get a run for it, even though it went pretty square, but again, mid-wicket, was able to collect. And yes, he looked a bit startled by that, did Root. Little sign of misbehaviour there, but that's Mohamed Abbas. He relies on a bit of natural variation, a bit of nibble here and there, and it's often enough. We've still got this curious field. Keeper's gone back now, no longer standing up. First slip and 2 gullies. Driven nicely by Root, but straight to Yazir Shah at short extra cover. And England, they're becalmed at the moment, and the Pakistani fielders are much more vocal than they were just before lunch when singles were coming quite comfortably. The batsmen are stuck, each of them, at their respective ends. Root facing Mohamed Abbas, Sibley facing Yazir Shah. Azhar Mahmood has rejoined us, and the game's just bubbling again, isn't it? You could feel the bubble
I can see Rizwan is going back. I think that's the right decision for Abbas because
Here comes Abbas. Come back to that point in a moment. And Root lets us go by. A little wider outside off stump this time. Root's not tempted. No run.
we saw Root came down the wicket and play chip through mid-wicket area, and that's why Rizwan was come up. And since then we saw, Abbas' length was not right, so he's not used to having a keeper up and bowl to that, and I think this is better. In that way, he can bowl a bouncer as well because he's got a really good bouncer. So if the keeper is back and have a square leg back there, so he can bowl the bouncer from here.
Well, there is a deep backwards square. Is it just saying, are we there? Yes. Yes. They're just double checking about 5-10 yards in from the boundary or so. Deep backward square. Abbas in to complete the over, and again Root gets turned round a little, but he plays it well enough into the gully or point region, if you like. There's no run. Another maiden. 3 maidens in a row. There's just been the 1 scoring shot in the last 4 overs. Is that right? The 4 from Sibley?
So 23 dot balls since then, and just 5 scoring shots since lunch. 15 runs in 9 overs. Been looking at no balls since in this game being called by the TV umpire. There have been 16 no balls, and we've had just over 250 overs, so 1 every 16 overs. That's the most no balls in a test in England since the Lord's Test of 2017, and there were 17 rather more overs in that game than we've had so far in this one. And the no balls are happening once every 16 overs rather than once every sort of 58, 59 as they have been in the matches in England in between those. So we're getting far more no balls being
About
called.
3.5 times as often, isn't it? Yeah. Which I suppose you'd expect, actually, because they're actually being called. Yazir Shah's in to Sibley. Start a new over. Sibley defends from the crease.
And
the
how
back foot. No run.
I need to ask you, Andy, how many Pakistan balls?
In this match, they bowled 8 in the first innings, and they've bowled 2 in the second innings so far.
10.
Yazir Shah still round the wicket to Sibley. And that's tossed up more, and Sibley does use his back, comes forward to it and pushes it back towards the bowler. Short leg, forward short leg. Fields, slightly perilous at the moment. First slip's gone wider because of the angle of attack, the leg spin from round the wicket. There's no one, is there no one sweeping on the offside? No. Sibley just pads this next one away. Lets it balloon off his pad, and Rizwan goes to collect the short point.
Why I asked for
Position
the
no
no
run?
ball? Why I asked for the no ball? Because when I become bowling coach, that was the biggest concern for me.
Yes.
To cut down our extras, and we managed to do that really well.
Yazir in. They're using his feet, his Sibley. And when he gets to the pitch of the ball, just defends it back up the wicket. No run. There's a real hubbub out there now. England aren't going anywhere. Well, they haven't for a while. And since I've been on, there's been just that 1 scoring shot, that 1 boundary. Everything else been a dot ball. Yazir Shah may look like a negative line of attack, but it's testing Sibley's patience here. And he pads this one away. Again, it was straighter on this occasion. He pads it from off Midland leg, but the ball is always pitching outside leg stump because Yazir predominantly is bowling the leg break. Now he's come over the wicket, so change of field. Shadab's going to move back to backward point, and not exactly a sweeper, but a deeper point, saving 2. Goes out. A short extra, mid-off, deep and wide. Deep and wide. Forward short leg, mid-wicket, mid-on. Yazir in to Sibley, who clips this into the onside, square of the wicket. He gets a run, and that breaks the sequence of dot balls. He's come back for a second. This could be tight. Throw comes in, and Sibley makes it. That could have been tight if that had been absolutely dead-eye accurate over the top of the stumps. It wasn't. And Sibley picks up 2. End of the over. 72 for 1. Sibley 34. Root 26. This is just, it's fantastic stuff. This whole game has been fascinating. It's ebbed and flowed mostly for Pakistan, in Pakistan's favour since lunch on day 2 when Shadab and Shan Masood took hold of the game. From that point on, England have been playing catch-up. And they're still playing catch-up, but they really are clawing their way back into the game slowly. The 50 partnership has come up.
50 partnership in 20.5 overs. The CricViz win predictor close to 50-50 now. England 47%, Pakistan 53%.
So that tells you this is as tight as it can get. And if you're thinking of doing anything on this Saturday other than listening to us, then you're out of your mind, because this could be absolutely thrilling.
Yeah, anybody's game here, but that's what I said before, you know, like inexperienced bowling lineup, it's not mature bowling lineup, and see if England manage to get another 50 or 60 run, and then we'll see how the body language will be Pakistanis and how they cope with the pressure. So it just need to be staying in the moment and stay patient.
Mohammad Abbas is out of the attack. Naseem Shah is coming in. 2 slips and a gully. His first ball is faster and at the body of Root. He just pushes out to the offside from the crease. There's no run. So another phase of play. Mohammad Abbas is spelled there, Andy.
None for 10 in 5 overs, from 9 runs from the first 2 overs, and then just 1 from the last 3.
Now, a total change of tempo with Naseem Shah. The thing is, Azhar, I mean, I take your point, but there's such variety and firepower in this Pakistan attack. You would think that anything could happen. A wicket could fall at any time, and that might make for a huge change. Naseem Shah is in, and Root is waiting for him. And Root cuts into the ground, but on the bounce to gully, no run.
Yeah, when you're under pressure, your mind gets cloudy and you don't think properly, and that's the thing. With a pressure situation, and when you're only 17, you never face something like this, and that shows your character as well.
I mean, this is where the likes of Azhar Ali and Mohammad Abbas and Asad Shafiq and Babar Azam come into it, isn't it? To sort of help and support those bowlers and remind them that this is a pitch that's still doing stuff. It's still a big chase for England. And Naseem is in to Root, covers up in defence, stays again on the crease, plays predominantly off the back foot, pushes into the point region. It's collected, there's no run. When did Root get his last run, Andy?
Root's last run was in the 3rd over after lunch from Mohammad Abbas. At that point, he had 26 from 38 balls.
25
So
scoreless balls. That's about a half an hour ago, isn't it? It's not just the balls you face, it's the sort of the time you're out there. Starting to put pressure on yourself. It's a big gap on the onside, though, for Root. If Naseem were to stray onto the leg side, he doesn't on this occasion. Wide of the off stump and left alone. Root not to be tempted. 72 for 1 the score remains. Root 26 on 64. Sibley 34 from 106. Runs were never going to come quickly, and you know, I think if England are to get over the line, it could very well be not until tomorrow. Pakistan could win it today, but we may yet be going into a 5th day. Naseem Shah into Root. who edges in front of first slip on the bounce. False shot from Root. It wasn't a full-hearted push, and he played it with relatively soft hands, so it didn't reach slip. But we've seen that a little bit today. Actually, a couple of those edges have fallen just short of slip. This one a good metre or so in front of slip.
Good stop by Babar here.
You just feel something's happening all the time. It's really intense cricket at the moment. You can hear the chatter out on the field as Naseem is in to complete his over. Root facing him. And Root defends into the onside, up to mid-on. There'll be no run as Mohammad Abbas fields. End of the 33rd over, 72 for 1. England. Root still can't find another run. 26 off 66, simply 34 of 106. More thoughts from Azhar Mahmood, and then it will be the returning Isha Guha.
Good disciplined bowling from Pakistan, but if they need to get wicket, they need to come out and think out of the box. Maybe a couple of short deliveries. Naseem Shah back to his second spell, maybe to Sibley, check his armpit, what we saw in against West Indies. So maybe some short pitch deliveries from Naseem Shah.
Michael Vaughan were here, I would say. I thought it was supposed to be a sunny, hot day here at Old Trafford. It was this morning. Now loads of cloud cover. It's grey above, gentle breeze, slightly cooler conditions as Sibley will set up once again to Yasir Shah bowling around the wicket. He was just padding him up. And then it forced the change of angle, but he's come back around as Sibley again looks to pad up as it goes past him. Lots of spin on offer for Shah as it goes through to Rizwan pitching outside leg. And prodigious turn and bounce. Slip in position, short leg as Shah is around the wicket again. And Sibley turns his body, hits him on the back.
Good discipline shown by Sibley. Let's see who's have a better discipline, Yasir or Sibley.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful game of cat and mouse with Abbas and Joe Root. And now here with Shah and Sibley, who comes forwards again, lunges, and pads away. The ball finds its way to point. 72 for 1 here then, England. Root on 26, Sibley 34. Still a long way to go in this run chase, but they've got off to a good start. A 50 partnership. Sibley again lunges and moves his body so his bat is nowhere near it and pads it away to the offside. Sharp continuing around the wicket. He's got a deep backward square, deep mid-wicket. Man at short fine as Sibley is backing across, and this time playing at a ball to the leg side, just working it off a good length.
That was wrong, and I think the last one from that angle, creating doubt in Sibley's mind.
Something Shadab Khan does extremely well as well. We saw it yesterday as Shah, diminutive in stature, spins himself a catch past the stumps, and it's a full toss that is clipped away through mid-wicket out to the deep mid-wicket boundary. They'll push for 2 as Abbas collects the ball with his left hand out there. It is a long boundary square of the wicket. They do come back for 2, and England go to 74 for 1. Root on 26 and will face up for the next over. Sibley on 36 then.
That's what I was saying, Isha. I want to see Shadab Khan a bit more. We saw yesterday he bowled 3 overs. He challenging both edges because he got a very good wrong one, and because he's taller than Yasir Shah, he get more bounce and purchase from his pitch. But I think Azhar Ali is different way to my thinking.
It's all about instinct, isn't it, as a captain? And it's in the middle.
But I know Azhar Ali because he's kind of captain. He just go with the flow. He never think out of the box.
Yeah, okay. Nasim Shah, continuing from the Brian Statham end. He ambles in, past the stumps, then explodes, bowls to Root, who defends to extra cover. Yasir Shah misfields the ball, but there is no movement from Root after he plays it. Just solid in defence.
He always look for a safe option, and then he might be thinking, he might get a message from outside what to do. As a captain, international captain, you need to be thinking on the spot.
Yeah, still fairly early days. He's got a good advisor in Misbah ul-Haq, who is the Pakistan coach at the moment, as Shah pushes away now. In he comes. Bowls to Root, who's off his pads down to fine leg, looking to clip the ball away. I think it is leg byes as Shaheen Shah Afridi down there slips as he's trying to collect the ball. And they come back for 2. Leg byes, yes it is, 76 for 1.
Yeah, we were talking about that, safe mindset. Misbah, when he was captain, that's the mindset he has, put pressure on the opposition and then make them mistake. And that's sort of touch of reverse swing, I thought.
Yeah. Gloomy conditions here, but Nasim Shah is definitely searching for it as he bowls short. Root cuts, backward of point, down to the third man boundary. It goes in between point and gully. The shot he likes to play, just a gentle dab on the back foot. And it's moved England to 80 for 1.
Not a good delivery. Joe Root never missed those one. This is his pet shot. Used his crease really well and just watched the ball till the end on his bat.
So Root's first scoring shot for 31 balls, 30 dot balls before that, and that's brought the target down below 200. Sorry, the required run rate. The target has stayed the same. The required runs.
Thanks, Andy. Did you have a long night last night? on your billiard table. There's Shah. Bowls to Root on the back foot, defending to extra cover. A slightly better line there from Naseem, bowling at 87 miles an hour. Lots of power when he gets to the crease.
That was a great game. What is it called?
It's called Victorian Bagatelle. It's part of our games night last night. So 100-year-old bit of wood I bought on eBay.
It was amazing. People were asking how you managed to carry it. It folds in half, if you're wondering. There are pictures of it on online. Our producer put up shots of our night on Twitter as Shah bowls, Root, clips out to deep. Backward square, comes through for 1, goes to 31, and England 81 for 1 now. So Sibley to face the last delivery here. And it's just freed him up a little bit here, Joe Root. The bowling of Naseem Shah. Not as metronomic as Mohammad Abbas, bowling it consistently on line and length. But then that does also present opportunities for Pakistan, because in the batsman's mind, feel a bit more relaxed at the crease, might go for more shots. As Sibley standing outside the line of leg stump, feet pointing towards extra cover. So he's backing across now and working to mid-wicket. Slightly fuller delivery from Naseem Shah, bowling it on middle and off. That is the end of the over then. So 81 for 1. England, Root 31, Sibley 36, a target of 277. It might well go into tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about the reverse swing, touch of reverse swing. At this moment, you know, I just find one ball was tailing in and the other one he tried to compensate because he pitched the ball on the leg stump. He went starting from slightly wider from off stump and didn't come back enough, and that's why Joe Root managed to get the boundary there. So this is a situation, you know, you need to find the way. Maybe a couple of over bowling cross seams to get the rough side really rough, and then look for that reverse swing.
Sun breaking through the clouds here at Old Trafford. A very abrasive surface. Michael Vaughan this morning, I was with him by the pitch, and he said it's probably the most abrasive surface he's ever seen here in Manchester. So can understand why the spinners are getting lots of turn. It generally does turn here though, but a significant amount of turn. As Shah is around the wicket to Root, who's cutting out to the deep cover boundary, and will roll into the advertising sponge now. It beats that man at point in front of him, and slightly shorter, allows Root to just rock back. And again, just lovely timing, just a glide of the bat. The score moves to 85 for 1. Root to 35. Standing quite open to the leg spinner around the wicket as he's back, and bit of bounce and turn as he looked to play it, but then dropped his hands, Root, as it hits Rizwan on the body.
And Root is saying one was the other.
I think the umpire signalled it as well.
Yeah, considerable bounce. Did well to get out of the way of that one, Root, as he's forward pressing and padding away down the track. I mentioned Misbah al-Haq. What kind of influence will he be having on this team, and you know, what kind of conversations would he have had this morning at lunchtime as Shah around the wicket again to Root, who's defending, covering it to the offside, no run.
Misbah was one of the best captain Pakistan have ever, and he's a very calm guy. Definitely he brings a lot of confidence in this side, and he's given responsibility to the players to be more mature.
Sealy Point has come in to position as Shah bowls. Root sweeps out to deep backward square. The first time. Comes through for 1. Goes at 36, 86 for 1.
And make decision by themselves rather than, you know, always looking at the coaches or the outside people. So, which is a really good sign for Pakistan cricket.
became Pakistan captain in 2010 after the spot fixing scandal, and just changed the perception of Pakistan cricket. Incredibly dignified sort of character. As Silly Point is moved across the short leg. Yasir Shah bowling over the wicket to Sibley. Edges and gone. Taken at slip. And Yasir Shah leaps in the air because that is the breakthrough. Dom Sibley looking to drive the ball outside the off stump. And England are 2 down with 86 on the board.
That's the wicket Pakistan was looking for. Great bowling from Yasir Shah. He's changing different angle, coming round the stumps and coming over the stumps. Great bit of bowling by Yasir Shah. He was full and spin a bit as well.
Dom Sibley trudging off the field just below us. He's out for 36 then. And that's what you were talking about, just Pakistan being patient and calm when a partnership forms. And now just taking a drink at the moment by the pitch, as Joe Root will be joined by Ben Stokes very, very shortly. He's not yet out.
Because we were talking about Misbah, and the time he was captain Pakistan, his success was to stay patient, big first innings score, and then put pressure on the opposition by bowling mid-in and mid-in. Make them mistake, like Sibley just did that. It was over-pitch delivery, but he went for booming drive.
Here comes Ben Stokes then.
Sibley's innings, 36 from 114 balls with 4 fours. A valuable partnership, 64 in a ball under 25 overs. Before that wicket fell on the CricViz win predictor, England are just tipped over the 50% chance of victory on their metrics, and they will have dipped back down below it after that wicket.
It's a flighted delivery outside, off stump. Sibley going for a flowing drive, and comfortable catch for Asad Shafiq in slip.
It was there to hit, but I thought Sibley hit it too hard and tried to nail him through covers.
So that was the end of the overs. Ben Stokes out in the middle now, just rehearsing a couple of shots from the non-striker's end. A man who can produce ridiculous innings when it matters. But he will just want to give himself some time. There is a day tomorrow as well. No hurry for England. And it will be Joe Root to continue against Naseem Shah. Stokes out for naught in England's first innings to Mohammad Abbas, looking to advance down the track, and it beat the outside edge, hit the top of off as Naseem Shah approaches the crease now. Bowls to Root on the back foot, push into the leg side. They come through for a quick single, and Root scampers through safely as Mohammad Abbas is caught a little bit there, actually. I think he was a bit slow to the ball as the score moves to 87 for 2. So Stokes to face his first delivery. Shah is going to be bowling over the wicket, the right armour. 2 slips in position, a gully, point extra. Azhar Ali is just coming over to have a chat to a young bowler. Mohammad Abbas has just tossed him the ball. Man at mid-wicket, Yasir Shah in that position, just doing a few squats. And a man down at fine leg, about 10 metres off the boundary. So Naseem Shah at the top of his mark, deliberately places the ball in his hand with his fingers over the seam. Just asked fine leg to just move slightly finer. Ben Stokes taps his bat down, open in his stance, as he just crouches gently back and across and defends to the offside. A good length delivery and around off stump.
It's always tough, you know, when someone on pair, and Ben Stokes is on pair here. And maybe quite a few Pakistani players might set him to him. But he's so calm. Look at him. Body language tells you everything. He's full of confidence, Ben Stokes. He always does things happen, either with the ball. We saw yesterday when he picked up the ball and got 2 wickets.
bat high now from Stokes. So again, backing across in defence, gets right on top of the ball as it trickles to Gully. Head right over as well, just weighted on it nicely. A good net delivery, just angling across him.
You know, like Michael Vaughan yesterday was saying, you know, whenever he bowls, he bats better, and it's an all-rounder thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's when he got confident with the ball in his hand and get a couple of wickets and give you extra bit of boost when you go to bat. When you're playing as a batsman, just on the batsman, it's too much pressure on you. So you're thinking like a batsman.
Shah around the wicket now to Stokes. Past the stumps, bowls. Outside edge found. It goes past second slip down to the third man boundary in between second slip and Gully. I don't think it would have carried. He played it quite late, but it does catch the outside edge and will encourage the 17-year-old. Lovely flowing action. Hits the outer part of the bat as he looks to play it with an angled bat, the defensive shot. And that is first runs for Ben Stokes then. He's off his pair. He picks up 4. As Shah has a ball back in his hand. Shuffles away now into his stride. Bowls. Stokes leaves outside the off stump. Is that something that you found?
Yeah, I find really well. When I bowl well, definitely, you know, it gives me a lot more confidence when I go to bat. And it's as all around, it's a mindset, you know. When you're playing as a batsman, you're thinking, you know, you have to do something with the bat. And
You feel more pressure
more
to have
pressure.
to perform.
Yes.
Especially if you're batting at number 4 as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And he's got so much skill and temperament and everything.
Stokes sets himself up again, backing across and defends the ball. When he hits the ball, it's so firm, it sounds like a shotgun. But yeah, he's played that into the pitch. A good let delivery outside the off stump again from Naseem Shah. He bowled it incredibly well to Stokes in that over. You want to be putting pressure on the new batter coming in, and that's exactly what he did. 91 for 2 then England. Root on 37, Stokes on 4. Andrew Fielding emails us, England had better win this, as after a few bottles of wine on my flight to Antigua, I've shelled out for the most expensive Wi-Fi on the flight so I can listen to TMS. Andrew, it's an absolute pleasure to have your company. Thank you so much for spending the money.
Thank you to listening to us.
Right, a few words from you, Azhar, and then it will be Simon Mann.
He's not the pilot, is he?
That's a good one.
So Yazid Shah's bowled 12 overs straight in this this spell, 1 for 28 so far.
He's just getting warm up. Huh? That's normal.
He's coming round the wicket now to bowl to Root, and Root goes for the reverse sweep, and he's connected well as Simon Mann plugs in, and it's gone down to the third man boundary for 4. A fine shot, the first one of those that we've seen from Root in this innings today. He moves to 41 and the score of 95 for 2. Hello, Simon.
Hello, Zoltz. I'll take over your scorebook if you want. I'm not sure I would do it as well as you, though. Well, I know I won't. Fine shot from Root. And he's taken 3 boundaries quite quickly. But amidst it all, the wicket of Dom Sibley, his eyes lit up. Nicked it to slip. Yasir Shah bowls to Root. Root offers the pad. It's a fascinating battle, this. Yasir Shah bowling round the wicket into the rough outside the right-hander's leg stump. You can pad it away, you can keep on padding it away. And every now and again, if you don't quite get it right, lose your concentration, one might just spit hit the glove or bowl you around your legs. Yasir bowls, Root goes back and forces this away towards deep cover. They're through for a single. Root has been batting superbly in this innings. I think this is the best he's batted this summer. I know he made that half-century when England were looking for quick runs against the West Indies. That was a very different situation when the pressure wasn't really on him in a way. This is a high-pressure situation, and he's batting extremely skillfully. The last time I saw him bat like this was against, I remember, it was against Australia, strangely, in the 5th Test in Sydney when he was ill. And he came out and batted brilliantly on the final day. Wonderful technique. He made a half century. That to retire hurt. I think he retired hurt twice in that, or retired ill twice in that innings. Once he didn't come out on the 5th morning, and then ultimately he wasn't well enough to continue. But that day was a wonderful exhibition of batsmanship. Here's Yasir Shah bowling to Ben Stokes. Stokes gets one that's drifting down the leg side, taken on the pad, goes away into the onside. Of course, Stokes will have to play with that rough outside his off stump. A different sort of test for him. There's lots of it. 96 for 2. Yasir around the wicket, bowls to Stokes. Stokes is back, trying to guide that away past short leg. Hits it into the ground, and it hits the short leg fielder. Not particularly hard. So Abid Ali is able to stop the ball. Stokes 4, Root 42. England losing the wickets of Burns for 10 and Sibley for 36. Yasir bowls. Stokes is forward, playing that quietly towards mid-wicket. And there is no run. That's the end of Yasir's over. So he's bowled 13 overs and taken 1 for 33. England are 96 for 2, requiring 277 to win. It feels like we're in for a riveting last 3 hours of this 4th day. Mark Ramprakash is here.
Oh, good afternoon. I'm just looking on and thinking, you know, as a player, you have to recognise key times in the game, and you can hear the volume has gone up from the Pakistani fielders around the bat. They know that with Ben Stokes new to the crease and Yasir operating around the wicket, drifting the ball in from wide into that rough, those footmarks, they're very excited. They feel they've got an excellent chance to pick up the left-hander with perhaps something that might just spit and bite out of the rough. With a leg slip and short leg, they feel they're in the game.
That's tense stuff. Here's Naseem Shah running away from us at the Statham end of the ground, up to the stumps now, and bowls to Root. And Root plays that firmly into the onside. Doesn't quite time it. And it goes rolling out towards mid-on. And there's no run. Root comes down the pitch to do some repair work. I'm not sure how much repair work you can do. And he makes his way back. So still 54 overs after this one left in the day's play, and they've got that runs required under 200 now with that flurry of boundaries from Root. He's on to 42. 2 slips in the gully. Naseem Shah bowls to the England captain, and Root works that away into the offside with a slightly open face, trying to find the gap, but too close to Shan Masood at backward point, and there's no run. It's interesting to see the previous over, and Root took a quick single into the onside. He was scampering to the non-striker's end as if he thought he was under pressure, and Stokes was just ambling. Oh no, his easy single there. Languid running from Stokes, taking it all in his stride. Stokes, who got in the game yesterday, ultimately those 2 vital wickets as it turned out, hastened the end of the Pakistan innings. This is Naseem bowling to Root, and Root plays nicely in defence. Plays it back to the bowler, who picks up, and there's no run. Stokes has had a quiet time of it since that remarkable game he had in the 2nd test here at Old Trafford. In the 3rd test, 20 runs. Much to do, to be honest. And then in the first innings, 0. So he came in on a pair, dropped a catch as well, and then gradually began to get into the action yesterday, taking a sharp chance to get rid of Babar Azam, and then those 2 late wickets. England looking to score some runs now. So now it's Naseem Shah on to Root, who edges it, caught. First slip, big wicket for Pakistan. Naseem Shah's got it. Just seemed to bounce a bit, took the shoulder of the bat, and it rather looped to Babar Azam at first slip. And it's 96 for 3, and Root, who's been playing so well, has been dismissed by the youngster. He's gone for 42.
Well, it's a surprise to see Joe Root going there. It was a terrific delivery that has dismissed him. And one of the things I was saying earlier about Naseem is that he's not only is he bowling quick, but he's found lateral movement either way, just a little bit off the pitch. This one leaving Joe Root at pace, and on a slow pitch it's carried comfortably to first slip, round about waist height. Competent catch from Babar, and Joe Root leaves for 42. And this is classic Test cricket. You've got leg spin at one end with a dry turning pitch, and 90-mile-an-hour pace bowling with a little bit of movement at the other end. And particularly when you're a new batsman, it's very, very difficult to contend with. But Joe Root on 42 had his eye in, and it was a terrific delivery. So this boy, Naseem, certainly looks a star for the future.
And his celebrations as well, he ran off towards mid-off. Sometimes you see, I remember Courtney Walsh, I think, on this ground running to square leg once in a test match here after taking a wicket. You don't often see a bowler run off towards mid-off. Sometimes see them run towards the wicket-keeper and celebrate. His teammates were after him because they know how important that wicket was. So 2 quick ones for Pakistan. England were going along nicely. 86 for 1 suddenly turned into 96 for 3. And Pakistan favourites again. Email from Alistair Straighton as Ollie Pope comes to the crease. I wonder if you can say a quick hello and get well soon to my dear Dan Allen, who's been in intensive care for the past 10 days following an emergency operation. The entire ICU team at Yeovil Hospital have been awesome, and thanks to their supreme efforts, he's hopefully well on the way to recovery. Unfortunately, this COVID-19 world visits are only allowed for one person for an hour a day, so he's been relying on TMS to keep himself sane in a difficult time. Got him a digital radio along with a set of earphones, but he prefers listening via the Freeview on the telly. No doubt giving him his chance to share his love of the game with the unsuspecting and potentially bemused nursing team. Well, all the best to you, Alan. I hope your recovery continues to go well. Although it's a tense old afternoon, this one. Under overcast skies, Ollie Pope is out there. The players took the opportunity for a drink. They wanted to draw breath, but a huge lift for Pakistan there, for getting rid of, well, Root and Sibley just before.
You can see it in their celebration, actually. You know, and the noise that they made when they got that wicket. They realised how important it was. Joe Root looked in the mood, I must say. His feet were moving well. He played some glorious shots, a square cut off Naseem, a clip through square leg off Abbas, and had looked particularly good against Yasir as well. So the England captain, although he's been short of runs by his standards, you thought today he was going to play an innings of substance that would really impact the game and bring it England's way. But it was not to be, and he was undone by a terrific delivery. And we did wonder about Naseem and whether he would sustain his pace as the game wore on. Well, he's certainly run in wholeheartedly. He's got a terrific action, and he certainly has bent his back. And Ollie Pope will know that because he was dismissed by Naseem in the first innings. A terrific delivery that bounced from nowhere, seemingly, and found the shoulder of Ollie Pope's bat and looped to gully. So he will now have to face up to Naseem on naught, with England just wobbling.
Yep, 96 for 3. They still need a further 181 runs to win this match. So Pakistan back on top with those 2 quick wickets. It's funny, isn't it? The game seems to slumber for a bit. England didn't look in too much trouble, then bang bang, it's game on again for Pakistan. Here is Naseem then. First ball to Ollie Pope. It's full and Pope drives him firmly into the offside. It was a nice looking shot, but well fielded by Azhar Ali away to his left, mid-off. He was just pointing at the outfield there as if it bounced up in front of him, close to one of those old wicket ends, actually probably where the bowlers run in as well, where they just begin their gather. So there might be a few rough patches there, but he did well to stop it. Nice confident shot first up from Ollie Pope. We saw him counter-attack in the first innings. I wonder how he's going to play here. I feel he's probably just going to play the same way. If it's there, it's going to go after it. 2 slips in the gully only. Naseem goes in. Bowls now to Pope, and Pope is underway, clipping that for 4 through square leg. Naseem frustrated himself because that was a nice, friendly, off-the-mark ball, really, on the pads, and Pope relished it, tucked it away. And England's 100 is up, 100 for 3, both batsmen, Stokes and Pope on 4.
Well, this is a shot where the pace of the bowler can actually be of use to the batsman because it's offline, and it's a shot of a man in form. Ollie Pope waiting for that really well and just deflecting it through the vacant square leg area. He has got form. He played extremely well in the first innings. And you mentioned about how will he play. Most batsmen, by and large, when they go out to bat, they should be having a similar frame of mind most of the time. That's why I'm not quite sure about the England template of, we've got to bat long in the first innings of a match. Good players, I think, just assess conditions and bat accordingly and bat how they think they're going to be successful. So here, the England batsmen with the ball turning and a bit of uneven bounce, they've still got to be really positive and pick up any opportunities they can to score.
Here's Yassir bowling to Stokes into the rough outside his off stump. That one spits at him. He manages to play it with soft enough hands to drop the ball at his feet. And this feels like a big test for Stokes. With Yassir hitting that rough, Stokes playing right back, and then also taking one hand off the bat as well as he tried to stun the ball. Pakistan sensed something here. Yassir goes in, bowls to Stokes, right back again. There's a shout for LBW. Emphatic shout from the bowler, not so much from those behind. Perhaps they couldn't see, I don't know. Perhaps they thought Stokes hit it. Yassir just kept on appealing there. The umpire said not out, and there's no review. Let's have a look at this. And the reason is Stokes played it with his bat. It's an extraordinary moment. Difficult for us to tell, but he played it with a sort of thick edge of his bat. It was a tricky delivery to cope with. Yassir bowls, Stokes reverse sweeps for 4. Well, there's the counter punch. This is thrilling cricket, it really is. Yassir bowling into that rough. And Stokes with a lot to contend with, but reverse sweeping in for 4.
Well, just to give listeners an idea of what is on the offside for Ben Stokes, you have a mid-off and then you have a slip, and then there is kind of a short third man who has now gone back on the boundary because of that reverse sweep. But that gives you an indication of how much the leg spinner is turning the ball out of the rough into the left-handed Stokes. So to counter that, he's played a brilliant reverse sweep and hit it very hard.
104 for 3. Stokes to 8. Yassir goes in, bowls to Stokes. Stokes comes forward, guides it away. Forward a square for a single. Takes him to 9. And England to 105 for 3. That was a wonderful incident, that appeal. I don't think I've ever seen such a vehement appeal when the batsman has hit the ball so clearly.
Don't ask, you don't get. And in this case, if you did ask, you don't get as well. Quickly on Naseem Shah getting Joe Root out. The second 17-year-old bowler to dismiss an England captain. The only previous one was Piyush Chawla, young Indian leg spinner who got Freddie Flintoff out in a test in 2006. He was slightly younger than Naseem Shah is now.
Here's Yassir to bowl to Pope the first time in the second innings. Pope is forward, guiding that away, riding the delivery, opening the face. Running it out towards backward point where it's picked up by Shan Masood. 105 for 3. 277 to win. Last ball of the over. Yassir to Pope, bit short. Pope tries to thrash that away, hits it hard into the surface, and it goes bobbling out towards Shan Masood at backward point. Pope there, but you feel he's missed out on a run or 2 or 4. But anyway, straight to the fielder. So end of the over. Pope has 4, Stokes has 9, and on we go with this intriguing contest on what doesn't have to be the last day, but might well be the last day of this Test match. Still bags of cricket to come. We can play until 7 o'clock tonight. Could even have the extra half an hour if the light permits us, with either side pushing for victory. A long way to go. The win viz at the moment has Pakistan 70% and England 30%, and the draw, not surprisingly, with a day and a half to go and not that much cricket left, 0%. Naseem round the wicket to bowl to Ben Stokes, who's forward nicely, playing that towards mid-on, and there's no run. Those behind liked it though, the Pakistan close fielders. I suppose it's about creating that atmosphere out there of support for the young bowler.
I was just thinking about the appeals and the theatre around the bat, and Yassir, of course, only has to look up at the Pakistani balcony, and in Mushtaq Ahmed, they've got one of the great appealers that I saw. He created plenty of theatre, especially when he was playing for Sussex down at Hove on a low wicket. He would be in the umpire's ear.
Nassim bowls to Stokes, full. Stokes digs out into the offside towards cover, and there's no run. He had such a great time down there, of course, as well. He helped winning the championship. A huge favourite on the south coast.
Yes, a very cheeky chappy, and always very quick to say good morning to the umpires and to sort of befriend them. And well, no harm in that at
No,
all.
not at all.
I would be trying to do the same thing
Yeah.
as a batsman at the non-strikers.
Yeah, why would you upset the umpire? You've got to actually make him as much your friend as possible. 105 for 3. Nassim bowls to Stokes, and Stokes clips that away. Nice looking shot, but hits it straight at the tumbling Shah at forward square leg. Stokes there hit that well enough to get 4, but it was intercepted. So no run. Of course, with DRS, you could argue that it's not so important in a way. It was always nice to be friendly, of course, but there is that thing about getting that umpire's finger up for those umpire calls. You know, that is so important, those ones that are clipping the bails of leg stump. Convince them to raise the finger, it goes your way. Stokes on 9, Nassim bowls. Stokes is forward, head right over it, playing towards mid-on. I mean, everybody out there senses the importance of this passage of play, with Stokes relatively new to the crease. The damage that he could do to Pakistan. He's had that little quiet period that I was talking about. It wasn't so long ago he played that fine innings against West Indies on this ground. Man goes back now from mid-wicket, Yasir Shah, to deep forward square leg. And Nassim prepares to come in again, having dismissed the England captain for 42. He's up to the stumps, he bowls to Stokes. Stokes tries to turn it away, there's a shout for LBW. It's not out from umpire Illingworth. Stokes looking to clip a ball off his hip almost and round the wicket, so it felt as if the angle must be taking it down. But they have reviewed it. They seem quite confident about it. It's a very confident appeal. But the way Stokes played it suggested it was going down the leg side. Well, we'll see.
Can we move on to front on spin vision, please? Okay, nothing conclusive there. Can we have Ultra Edge when available, please? Yeah, rolling all the way through. Just take that back, sorry, Mark. Yeah, just come back. Okay, yeah, rolling through again, please. Rolling through all the way to the pad. All the way through to the pad. Okay, no bat involved, so ball tracking when available, please.
Here it is, the big moment.
Ball tracking coming up now, pitching outside off, impact in line. And it's missing the wickets, so stay with your original decision of not out Richard. I'll let you know when you're on screen. You're on screen now, Richard.
Yeah, missing leg stump. It didn't feel quite right. Initial feeling backed up by the technology.
It was a good decision by Richard Illingworth, wasn't it? He got his angles right. I mean, Nasir, that was an attempted off-break, sort of off-cutter, if you like, but it didn't really turn. And also height was a factor as well. But we've seen throughout the summer, actually, there have been a lot of decisions overturned. And you mentioned those ones that are just clipping. If you can get the umpire to give them, then good things are happening.
Nassim bowls short. Stokes goes after it. And, well, not with a great deal of conviction. It goes flying through to the keeper, Rizwan. Great excitement out there. Great tension. 105 for 3 at the end of Nassim's over. Pope 4, Stokes 9. More from Mark, and then it will be Jonathan.
Well, it's box office watching Nassim bowl, and it always has been in Test cricket to watch great fast bowlers operating. I wondered how long it would be before we saw a couple of short balls to Ben Stokes. The deep square leg went out. And of course he was dismissed by Roach in the previous match against West Indies, where Roach bowled a couple of short balls, pushed him back a little bit, then bowled the fuller one, and he wasn't quite as well forward into the ball and being dismissed. And Ben Stokes looked quite comfortable on the front foot to Nassim, so inevitably the short ball came with deep square leg.
Proper cricket this, isn't it? Really is. Nicely deceived. Disguised slower ball for the LBW shot, and a very quick bouncer to follow it up. 105 for 3, so Yasser moves in, bowls to Pope, who can go back to this. The ball did turn, and it's prodded away into the leg side. I don't think Pope will ever face anything quite like this. 4 not out. all the noise. I mean, that really turned again, looking at that. Yasser comes in, bowls to him, back he goes. Oh dear, little fiddly little cut shot really there. Runs down to slip. Arms raised, lots of shouts. Great tension on the bottom edge there. Yasser licks his fingers. Amazing what one wicket can do. Up he comes, bounding in, bowls and pokes on the back foot again, covering up. And Shan Masood comes galloping in from cover to field that. 105 for 3, the target 277. Jos Buttler due in next. But then down to Wokes and Bess and co. So crucial partnership this. Yasser moves in, bowls, pokes down the pitch, and then manages to jab the bat down and get a single into the offside. And again, Yasser's one of those amazingly expressive wrist spinners. Most of them are, aren't they? You think of all the great wrist spinners going through the years. They're very theatrical characters. We've got one in the bubble with us at the moment. Abdul Kader. They're all very expressive with their hands. Facial expressions. Now, what's Stokes going to do? The man's out for the reverse sweep. There's 3 around the bat. Yasser Shah moves in, bowls turn, and that turns sharply, hits the pad. And Baba there at leg slip, scrambles around, trying to stop the ball. But what's Stokes going to do here? Because you feel if he prods about, there's going to be a ball that gets him out, frankly. He's going to kick out of that rough. But they've got 2 out on the leg side. Yasser moves in, bowls to him. Oh, that's gone a long way out of the rough. They're appealing for a catch again. Stokes isn't interested. I don't think that was a wrong one, or whether it just went the other way out of the rough. But again, they've got to confer about this. I didn't hear anything in my headphones. They're having a conference. They're desperate to get Stoke out. Well, they are reviewing it. 106 for 3.
TV umpire to director. We have a player review for caught behind.
They've got a very excitable young keeper, and he can make a few mistakes. We'll see what happens, but he is very excitable. He's taken that up by his head. Out of the rough, it kicked. It was a wrong one, wasn't it? Or top spinner at least. I think it was a wrong one. Has that brushed the glove on the way through?
Yeah, just rock and roll that.
I think it might have done.
I can't,
just the faintest.
From there. Can we have Ultra Edge one available, please?
Faintest glove. So it's a brilliant catch. He's taken it superbly. Let's have a look. Yeah, he has. He has.
Okay,
there's the faintest little flicker of glove.
Yeah, the bat.
And Stokes can't quite believe it. He's leaning.
Ultra Edge.
He's leaning on his bat.
Field to Richard. Richard, the ball has hit the glove. You're on screen now.
Up goes the finger, and that's an enormous wicket. And Stokes can't believe it. He's walking off there looking completely bemused. And that was a brilliant take.
Well, magnificent. And, you know, he's not the tallest guy, and he had to get his hands up so high. And we've seen all through this game, Old Trafford pitch, it's provided plenty of bounce, in particular for the spinners. And that was sort of up around chest height. But by the time it got to the wicketkeeper, it was a wrong one, which sometimes can spit and bounce because of the revs on the ball. But a brilliant review. Ben Stokes at no stage seemed concerned. His reaction was very calm, as though, yep, no problem there, I've missed it. And even walking off now, his reaction is very disappointed, as though he can't quite believe that he has gloved it or even felt anything on his gloves. So Pakistan absolutely jubilant. I mean, sort of the sort of celebration was sort of a bit like a Champions League winning football side there.
It's one of the best catches I've seen for wicketkeeper for a long time. It's bounced out of the rough. It's gone up to his head. I'm not sure he could even see it, whether he heard the glove. I don't know. That was a brilliant catch. And a very rare googly from Yasser. It might have even been the first one that he's bowled. He hardly ever bowls them these days. 106 for 4. Stokes out for 9. England need 171 more to win. And it was always going to be tough, despite the good start. 86 for 1. It's the sort of surface where once wickets start to tumble, bowler's confidence goes up and so on, and the batsmen have to be a little more cagey. It's always going to be a very tall order to chase these runs down. But
so 3 wickets for 20 in the last 37 balls.
change of bowling. Shaheen's coming on, the left arm quick bowler from our end. Pope and Butler at the crease. They batted well together in the first innings. (106 for 4). Shaheen grips the ball. Pope dips at the knees. Shaheen's on his way. He's there and he bowls to him outside the off stump. And Pope plays no stroke. It's taken low down by Rizwan. We'll see the catch again now. It definitely wrong and spat out of the rough. And how he kept his eye on that, because he had to catch it on the rebound as well. That's a brilliant catch. Just a little flick of glove, and I'm afraid Stokes thinks the evidence is there. 106 for 4. And Shaheen, elbows jutting out, runs in smoothly, bowls to Pope, drives. Nice shot that, but it's half stopped at cover. And they'll take 1 run, so Butler comes down to the business end for his first ball in this second innings. 107 for 4. 170 more needed by England to win the match. Pakistan needs 6 wickets. Chris Woakes due in next. Don Bess, obviously they're packing their side with bowlers in this game. And there's 50 overs left today after this one. Wish I knew what they were saying. It'd be fascinating, wouldn't it? 107 for 4. 170 more needed. In goes Shaheen. Bowls outside the off stump to Butler, who allows that to pass by at quite a fair rate of knots. 5 miles an hour. Carried nicely to the keeper. Butler just ignores the sound. And rather using his brush his bat like a brush, sweeps away the dust there in the crease. Now looks at his boots. Anything just to kill the time it takes for the bowler to get to his mark. 2 slips and a gully. And lots of noise down there, waiting as Shaheen's on his way. Now it's silence, and he's there and he bowls to Butler, very wide of the off stump. This not bothering Butler at all. He lets it go by. 107 for 4.
Ollie Pope just doing some gardening there on the left armer's follow through. It's the sort of thing a non-striker batsman just does subtly in front of the umpire. Hey, you know, keep that left arm quickie off a good length. Don't let him run too close to the stumps.
Mushtaq Ahmed, I see, stroking a very long beard these days, watching from the sidelines with Waqar Younis chewing on his gum. This next one's wide of the off stump, goes through quickly though to the keeper, who took it in front of first slip. He's having a great time, Rizwan. He's thoroughly enjoying himself down there. He's taken a brilliant catch. He played this is his 7th Test match. It's full of energy. I think he's responsible for a lot of the noise. Now Shaheen's going to come round the wicket. So Butler over his bat now, waits as Shaheen, wearing number 40, sets off past the little white disc. Past the umpire he goes and bowls. Oh, that comes cutting back. There's an appeal for caught behind. They've convinced he's out. The bowler there was celebrating very excitedly, but the umpire's not interested. And that sounded much more like pad to me, if I'm honest. But I think they all know that behind too, because as I came up and gave him a great hug, and there's sort of mock high fives for a non-wicket. But the bowler there was so excited. He was leaping around, celebrating, wild celebration. He's in ecstasy. But that came off the inside thigh, through to the keeper. They all knew it behind. But the bowler there, well, it's like taking a hat-trick. But anyway, his teammates all joined in the fun. 107 for 4.
We saw Stuart Broad giving some coaching tips to one of the young West Indian fast bowlers. I don't know if he's been coaching the Pakistanis to appeal as well.
It was one of his, isn't it? Here's Yasser bowling and Pope's on the back foot, cutting out to backward point. 107 for 4. I love the high fives as if they're celebrating a wicket when they all knew it wasn't. 170 more to win. Pakistan needs 6 wickets. Yasser's on his way. Bowles, that's turned away by Pope for a single down to deep backward square leg. And now Buttler. What's he going to do here? He'll still be wondering, I think, how he missed the one in the first innings that just crept on. It didn't turn, wasn't a googly. He's probably still thinking, how did I miss that? And now he's facing the man who delivered it. Only with one slip. It's a short fine leg, deep backward square leg. Man out on the point boundary. Going to bowl over the wicket, so aiming for the pitch in other words rather than the rough. Yasser moves in, bowls to Buttler, who drives firmly. That's a wonderful stroke for 4. What a confident way to get off the mark. Half volley, just around about the off stump, and he's driven that beautifully past Cover's right hand. Oh, that's a terrific start. Nothing wrong with that.
Cool. I mean, what the sound off the bat,
Yes.
and yet minimal effort. The Pakistanis clearly wary of Jos Buttler because they've only got a slip as a man in close. For a new batsman who's just come to the crease, it's a fairly defensive field.
Yasser comes in, bowls, and Buttler leans forward. Ball rolls back up the pitch. It's picked up by Yasser, who glares at Buttler. Mop of hair. You're right, though. They do seem to have retreated a little bit. Just the one close fieldsman, that's at slip. 112 for 4. Yasser bowls, and he's done it again, this time with a slightly more horizontal bat out towards deep cover. The fielder up there will dive and take the ball with him. And he had to work harder that time to hit the ball through the covers for 4, but well, counter-attack from Jos Buttler.
Well, it's a brilliant shot because it wasn't quite as full. The other one was a long half volley. This one's slightly on the up, and Jos Buttler just changing the angle of his bat, almost swatting it like a forehand, slightly cross-batted, and importantly finding the gap between mid-off, which is probably halfway back, and extra cover.
Brilliant shot. Absolutely brilliant shot for a man who's just come in. Buttler has scored 8. England need 161 more to win. Yasser Shah comes in and bowls, and Buttler's forward and runs away off a thick edge. But, there's no run for him there. 116 for 4. I wonder if Buttler's decided that, again, being positive is the way to go. 2 fine shots. One more orthodox cover drive, and then the second having to really work to bring the bottom hand in to get the ball away through cover. Ian Pope touch gloves. Looking at the replay, he's absolutely fully alert and over the ball. He knew it was destined for the boundary. 161 more needed. It's going to require something from these two, I suspect. A really sizable partnership for England to get close and for others to get it over the line. But at the moment, WinViz is showing Pakistan at 84%, which feels about right. Shaheen's on the way, bowls, and that bounces and hits Pope on the bottom hand as he came forward to a perfectly innocent-looking ball. But it's lifted and hit him on the bottom hand, and Mohammad Rizwan is coming up from behind the stumps. I think he's offering some concern there towards Pope, making sure he's okay. But Pope studiously ignored the approach. And he's checking his hand, which I assume is okay. Twiddle of the bat, but that just came up from nowhere. 116 for 4. And Shaheen's on his way again. Pope forward, then lets it go by at the last moment. Well played. 116 for 4. Michael Vaughan's alongside me. Proper contest.
Yeah, it is. It's great Test cricket. It's kind of typical Pakistan. They get one and they just look like they're going to get a wicket every single ball. Yasser Shah's got that bounce and energy. Seems they're charging in. That ball that got Joe Root out, Nasim Shah, was a beauty. Just gets that extra bit of pace off the surface, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And the bounce, the googly that did for Ben Stokes, tremendous catch.
Well, I was going to say that's
it's a difference so far, isn't it?
Yeah. How good a catch was that? Shaheen bowling outside the off stump. Pope was losing his footing slightly there. He plays the ball late into the gully.
I think it's if you're listening, watching, whatever you're doing, don't move, because Josh Butler's come out with some intent.
Yes, he has.
He's come out in 4th gear.
Well, he might be thinking, if we lose this game and they look back at my keeping, it might be a change in the offering. You never know. This might be it for a while. So it's going to remind people of what he can do. And that second boundary was an amazing shot. 116 for 4, 161 more needed. And Shaheen, shoulders rocking, bowls to Pope, who reaches and drives. Reaches cover on the first bounce. 87 miles an hour, so the 6'6" left armer's working it up. It's all you want with the up and down bounce that he's finding as well.
Yeah, it's not easy. You only have to look at how hard Noble that last one.
Oh, it's a Noble.
Yeah. Only look at how hard Sibley and Joe Root had to play for their runs. And different styles of players to Pope and Josh Butler, but it's not easy scoring runs out there. And what Pakistan do, as soon as you get a few, they spread the field, don't they, and almost nullify the boundaries.
Yeah.
Just wait for the mistake. Sibley made a mistake.
Pope waits for Shaheen. Is there round the wicket, and Pope drives, finds cover. Very full ball. Perhaps trying to find a little bit of reverse swing, but they didn't seem to much. It was a slower ball. That one's held it back a little bit. So he's very close to that front line.
Chirpy, aren't they, this lot?
Very chirpy. Well, they're entitled to be. They're in control at the moment. And they're certainly letting the batsmen know that. It's quite insight into the noise that can go on out in the middle when you can't hear it with the crowds in. 117 for 4. Pope's on 7. Shaheen bowls. Oh, my word, that's a horrible ball. And he's going to be caught. Surely, that's unplayable. That has come from absolutely nowhere and taken off at high 80s miles per hour. And the ball looped in the air, is taken by one of the slip fielders. That is an absolute shocker of a ball. That is totally unplayable. From round the wicket, angled in, it's taken off. I mean, well, that would have broken ribs, I think, if it hadn't hit the shoulder of the bat. And it's Shadab who comes in and takes the catch. That is an absolute brute. And that's a sort of ball that I think might give Ollie Pope nightmares for the next few nights.
Well, I think he might give the next few batsmen that are waiting in the sheds a few jittering thoughts. That's you're right, because you can't even think about that delivery. You can do absolutely nothing.
I'll just make room for Dan.
You only have to go back. The first innings, you got a peach from Naseem Shah. It bounced off a length. Now this one's angled from around the wicket, the left armour. It's probably pitched a yard and a half outside of the off stump, and then nipped back and reared up towards his right shoulder. And it just clobbered him on the shoulder of the bat, the glove. And it balloons in the air. Nothing you can do about that. This pitch is playing some tricks. It was always going to, you felt, always going to be a difficult chase, but when that partnership of Sibley and Root started to just manoeuvre itself, you started to think, oh, wait a minute. Sibley's wicket, then Joe Root's, then Ben Stokes, and now Ollie Pope's. Pakistan just 5 away from going 1-0 up in the series. Yeah, you don't want to be a batsman waiting, do you? And you're seeing that.
Well, yeah, it was unplayable, but you've got to give credit to the bowler as well, because it's the angle he's bowled it, the pace he's bowled it into the pitch. You know, it was horrible. It's come round. He's coming round the wicket, left arm round, and he's found a spot in the pitch, and it's flown. And you know, I thought the ball that Pope got in the first innings was hard enough from Naseem Shah that took the shoulder of the bat. Well, the only thing he can hope for there is that he misses it and it smashes into his shoulder.
It's come off his left. It's kind of hit his left glove full on. It's thudded. I'm just seeing if it's hit his glove or his wrist. It's like his wrist. He's lucky here. I hope he's absolutely okay. Because it's smashed into that glove wrist. You know, the kind of sweat wristband section that you have on your gloves.
The thing is, the length of it meant that he had to come forward to it, or at least have his weight on the front foot. And then once it had done that, it flew up. And you're right, they had to have a little look at his hand as he came off, and he was wincing. It was unplayable. It was a brute of a ball. And you're going to get out to those because you can't get your hands down. I mean, you can't actually say, oh, well, he should have dropped his wrists or anything of that sort.
Well, Dan, I reckon you have to be to get away with that kind of delivery. You have to be playing it badly.
Indeed,
you have to be playing it with really low hands, or
it's got to hit your because that would have hit his shoulder if it hadn't hit his glove.
Yeah, he's played it as you would play it, and that's why he's got out. He was playing it the right way. Can't do anything about those. Short leg in place now, round the wicket angle, 3 slips, a gully.
117 for 5, and you sense now that England, they've only got one way really to play from here. As Afridi is into Wokes, who lets this go by outside the off stump. That completes a successful over. A spectacular delivery from Shaheen Afridi has got rid of Pope. Probably that 5th wicket partnership was England's last real hope of chasing down this target of 277. Buttler, I think, is going to go after it, and I think they're going to have to, because there are balls, as we say, there will be a ball with your name on it.
Yeah, I think Chris Wokes said that in his interview this morning, didn't he? So this could be fun. Yeah, and look, England have to play that way. I mean, if you think that like the Buttler, Wokes, Best, Archer, Broad and Anson are just going to be able to bat another 60 overs to get these runs, it's not possible. But can they get them in 40 overs? Maybe, if Buttler stays there for the majority of those.
It's just
probably the right way to play, isn't it?
When you see the ball do that, though, it must be incredibly difficult for the batsman coming in, because then you're just... Oh.
I mean, you can't say it on air, can you?
No. No, you can't. Yazir Shah starts a new over, and Buttler drives nicely square of the wicket, back with a square. He'll think about a second. He's coming back for the second. He wants strike. He keeps strike. Moves into double figures with that. 219 for 5. Buttler to 10. We saw him play 2 magnificent cover drives off Yazir Shah in the previous over, was it?
Yeah, and I'm surprised, actually. I'd have played off that if I was a captain. I brought myself from mid-wicket to a short extra cover and put my extra cover back. You've got mid-off on the boundary, cover point. And you'd have said to Yazir Shah, go on, throw it up. Throw it up outside Joss Butler's off stumps. Get him driving again. Put a couple of catches there for it.
Here comes Shah, and he goes for the reverse sweep, smashes it to the boundary for 4. Yep, this is the way Butler's going to play. And I don't think anyone can blame him if he gets out trying, because this really is England's only hope, I think, to get through this match. And they're going to have to go after it. And they're going to have to hope that Buttler somehow manages to conjure a quick fire 70 or 80, because they've now had the top knocked off their order in double quick fashion after that partnership between Root and Sibley.
He's going to come round the wicket, try and get Buttler hitting out of the rough.
What was the score when Sibley was out, please, Andy?
86 for 2. Well, 86 for 1.
So 31 runs, 4 wickets.
If you just landed here and looked at this town, I know you're not allowed in the ground, you just arrived and saw this field and
didn't know the score.
You wouldn't believe the scorecard and who's winning the game. That's just going to bowl around that wicket with 2 fielders on the onside boundary, 2 fielders on the offside boundary, just a slip and that's it.
Yep, man on the 45.
You've got to hit it in the air.
Deep mid-off. And Buttler just lets that go by, because as Shah is bowling round the wicket, it just spins past his body. 123 for 5. Buttler onto 14 with that reverse swept 4 of the previous ball. And this was the line that Yazir was bowling to Dom Sibley to keep Sibley quiet. It's interesting. This is Buttler just lets that come off his pad and into the gloves of slip.
I don't mind it to Joss Buttler with the intent that he came out and played with and hit 3 beautiful boundaries. I actually don't mind this tactic. I'd just have probably a short leg from deep mid wicket.
Yep. Yes, is in. Plays off the back foot. And back into his crease, into the offside, where it's picked up at short extra cover. And there's no run. Baba Azam in the covers, a backward point, a deep point, wide long off. 1 ball left in the over. Can he nick strike somehow? Well, he can. He drives a full ball up to wide long off for a single, moves to 15 and will have strike at the start of the next over. A brave thing to do after you've just seen your partner be dismissed with a ball that's exploded out of the pitch at great pace without any warning. Poor old Ollie Pope. 2 balls he's got in this test that really I don't know how you play them.
You'll like
the
this.
second one harder than the first.
I've just seen a tweet from Nick Holt. It says there is a Pakistan fan playing Dil Dil Pakistan on a saxophone outside the ground.
Oh, tell us. Is that Andy, you know about this saxophonist. I think you described him as the worst saxophonist you'd ever heard.
Yeah, I think that's being generous in many ways. He's been stationed outside on the street outside the hotel, so across over the fence from the hotel. And the poor hotel staff who have to sort of stand outside checking people's temperatures and things on the way. And I think I've been driven to considerable distraction by his abominations of music.
Shaheen Shah Afridi starts a new over. He's into Butler, and Butler lets this go outside the off stump. He's bowling round the wicket, so that angle is often going to bring the bat into play. On this occasion, it was just wide enough for Butler to leave it. What will Butler's approach be to the quicker bowler? We've seen he's desperate to knock Yazir Shah off his length and his lines.
Well, I saw from that kind of press forward that he's looking for anything full, and he's going to launch.
Well, mid-on and mid-off are up. There's no one out deep apart from the long leg and the deep backward point. 2 slips gully and 2 in the ring on either side. Afridi in, and he lets this go again. It was just not quite the right length to drive, so he was able to leave it on length.
So Andy, where will he be now? Will he be the tram side just to the right, or is he out the old main gates?
He was right by the entrance to the hotel on the pavement.
Oh, so there's that gate, isn't there?
Just
there's
there.
a coffee shop there, isn't there? That's adjoining the hotel.
What time does he start? I've not heard him.
I'm not sure, but to put into context the quality of his music, he didn't even bother putting a hat down on the ground for people to put money in.
Well, there's no one here.
He's on the pavement. There's people walking past.
Yes, from the tram. Yeah. Here comes Afridi bustling in. Left arm round the wicket and get into the ribs of Butler. He manages to turn this around the corner. Rizwan as an indication of just how busy Pakistan are in the field here. The wicket keepers run a full 30 yards to get that, even though Mount deep square leg was coming in for it. They're very energised, Pakistan, as well they might be. They can sense victory is coming, and it could come in a rush, because after this there's the 4 England bowlers, Bess, Archer, Broad and Anderson, on a pitch that's playing a few tricks, and with bowlers who have really got their tail up.
That last ball wasn't that far off the Ollie Pope delivery. It just kind of zipped back into Jos Buttler, who's on the back foot, so he had more of a chance to survive it.
Why is he finding this at Shaheen Afridi? Is it the angle? Is it his angle of attack? He's coming quite wide and round the creases.
I think he's just hitting cracks. There's plenty of them now.
Here he comes to Wokes. Wokes drives in the air, down through third man for 4. Went off a thick outside edge, Gully dived for it, didn't get near it. There's been a flurry of runs and a flurry of wickets. It's all happening. 129 for 5. Jess and Mark email us. We should have been getting married today, but instead we're sunning ourselves in the park with champagne and your commentary box for company. May have had to postpone the wedding because of COVID, but at least Test cricket is back to save the day. Well, indeed. I mean,
nice afternoon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Champagne.
Yeah, I mean,
Sat in
weddings
the
are
park.
very stressful. Yeah. Test matches are much less so. Yeah. Much nicer day, really. Shaheen Afridi in, and Wokes pulls in the air, not with perfect timing. It's running out through wind wicket. It's rolling slowly. It won't make the boundary, but they might come back for 3. They have come back for 3. And it's runs galore at the moment, but it's action galore as well. 132 for 5. Wokes with that moves to 7. Butler has 16 and is back on strike.
Yeah, 145 for England to win the game. And playing this way, you'd say it may only take them about 28 overs. Can they survive 28 overs playing this high-risk strategy game?
Well, the ball's theoretically going to get softer.
Particularly if they keep whacking it.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, I mean, look, if they do, it's going to be spectacular to watch and to listen to. So stay tuned, folks, because the game, as Phil Tufnell and Arthur Conan Doyle would say, the game is very much afoot, and it is now. Afridi is into Butler, who defends it to the offside. They scamper through for a quick single and went squirting out square of the wicket. Gully fielded. End of the over, 47 bowled, 133 for 5. Wokes 7, Butler 17. Adam Watt has been in touch. Currently listening to TMS on a 4-day walking trip in Perthshire. I'm on kilometre 125 of 135 with my feet 95% blisters, and the cricket is the only thing keeping me going. By the way, I'm Scottish and really enjoying the Pakistani leg spin attack. Well, I'm notionally English, and so am I. It's
yes.
I don't blame you. It's
sounds sore, that doesn't it?
95% blisters is tough. I hope you've got those, whatever they are, Compedes or whatever.
That's a lot of walking, 125 kilometres.
Well, he's doing 135 in 4 days, which it doesn't divide accurately, but there must be a reason for that. So he's doing basically 34 kilometres a day. It's which by my reckoning is about 21 miles a day.
That's good.
Crikey, it's almost Eddie Izzard territory. Yazir Shah's in, and that's swept by Butler well down to deep back with square leg. He's still playing around the way. They come back for a second. The throw comes in, and Butler makes it. It's fascinating, this, isn't it? England's approach has just they've flipped a switch the moment they lost Pope, really.
Oh, they've gone into
That's when
one-day
they've just
mode.
gone, yeah, they've gone after it, and they're trying to take the attack back to Pakistan. Butler moves to 19. It's a perilous approach, but it's almost certainly the correct one.
Well, I think it's the only chance they have.
Yeah. Yazir's in again round the wicket, and again he sweeps and connects brilliantly for 4. What a shot that was! Crumbs. And when the leg spinner's bowling round the wicket, that's not the easiest shot to execute, and it's full of danger. If you don't get it quite right, the top edge comes into play, and he's got a huge stride and got over the ball, timed it brilliantly. Moves to 23, 139 for 5. Oh. Now there's a conflab taking place, and I think Azhar Ali's just said to Yazir, just keep going. You'll get a wicket at some point.
Well,
this can't go on forever.
Percentages tell you that they'll give a chance playing this high-risk strategy, but there is a freak at times.
Well, he lets this next ball just thud into his pads. The ball's delivered round the wicket. He's earned the right to do that after hitting 6 off the first 2 balls of the over.
It's funny, isn't it? He's come out and played really aggressively, but he's getting himself in really good positions because of it. He's obviously just looking at the ball to score and to hit.
Do you think there's clarity here in his batting, which sometimes is
looks
lacking?
that way.
Sometimes he knows exactly what he's got to do. And he's got a thick top edge to this. Is he going to get away with it? He does. It lands safely. They think about a second. It certainly isn't there as the throw comes in. He went to sweep, and that's the top edge I was talking about. It went wide enough and deep enough of the man on the 45, and deep square leg couldn't get in time to collect it, so he gets another single for his pains, moves to 24, 140 for 5. And yeah, I mean, on that subject, people have often said the problem that Butler has is not being sure of his role when he comes in. Well, here, there's no...
One school of thought here for him, isn't it? He's gone out there and thought, right, I'm going to have a bit of fun in the semi-sun.
I think he's looking at the top of his bat. Let's put it that way. 140 for 5. Woakes on strike now. And Woakes defends solidly. Back to the wicket. No, back to the bowler. There's no run.
Well, I think Woakes has just got to play here because you've got Butler playing the way that he is. You just want to try and make sure that there's someone with him.
So what you're suggesting, he just plays himself in, or
it doesn't need to be too aggressive. Just play.
Yes, he's over the wicket to him, and he lets that go by outside the off stump. Goes through the keeper. No run. 140 for 5. We've got about 19 minutes to go until tea. Woakes 7, Butler 24. Just looking at this, England need another 137 to win.
So like halfway house, aren't they? Just over the runs, 5 wickets down.
The way they're playing and the way they're going to try and hunt this down, we're not going to be looking at a second new ball. We're not going to be looking at tomorrow.
No.
What happens is going to happen today. That we can now be sure. So if you have plans for tomorrow that include the Test match, I'm afraid it's going to well, I say I'm afraid we've got the Bob Willis Trophy instead. You can listen into that. There are plenty of matches taking place. Somerset have been bowled out today for 160 odd. Jack Brooks getting some runs down the bottom of the order again. But Shaheen Shah Afridi is in now to Jos Butler. 2 slips and a gully. He's round the wicket. Butler thumps it off the back foot beautifully, square of the wicket, but there is a deep point out there. He's timing the ball gloriously. Picks up a run. 141 for 5. Moves to 25. Gets Woakes back onto strike. It's a magnificent shot for one, but...
Well, he played well against the West Indies in the 3rd Test match here, but it was more of an attritional style, hang in there. And I reckon these 25 runs that we've seen already here have been the best 25 runs I've seen him score in Test match cricket for a long, long time, because it's just been crisp.
Really has, hasn't it? It's come off the bat gloriously. Woakes, though, has now got the not inconsiderable problem of Afridi bowling to him around the wicket, left arm. And Woakes drives elegantly into the ground. Yazir Shah fields at extra cover, and there's no run. I nearly read that out. 141 for 5. Woke 7. Butler 25. It's thrilling stuff. It has been all match. The points of counter-attack have really changed the match throughout. I think back to the Shadab Shan Masood period after lunch on day 2, which changed the tenor of Pakistan's innings. Here comes Afridi, and Wokes drives well elegantly, but it's half stopped at backward point. They're going to get at least 2 for it. As fielders scamper after it, they'll stick to just a 2. Wokes moves to 9. 143 for 5. Runs coming plentifully. How many runs have come since Pope's dismissal? 26 in how many balls?
22 balls.
26 in 22 balls. Well, yeah, as Michael Vaughan says, that is the method that they have to employ. But they've got to keep employing it for a fair bit of time yet. Pakistan are well on top. Not until England get to over 200 with 5 down when you think that Pakistan will start to feel the pressure. They've got plenty of slack, if you like, in this game as Afridi is into Wokes. Wokes drive for 4, magnificently through the covers. That's a wonderful shot. I wonder if this will also liberate Chris Wokes, who's had a tough time with the bat. We talked about how he had 8 single-figure scores in his previous 9 games, a high score of 32. He got a little bit of crispness into his play in his previous innings, but here, Wokes and Butler, they just have no choice but to play one way. And it's, at the moment, they're executing it very well indeed. 147 for 5, Wokes to 13.
I'm surprised how underutilised Shadab Khan's been.
Yeah.
He's a one-day star bowler, but he spins it. Got a tremendous googly.
Field's not changing. It is as it is. And Shaheen Afridi is bowling very full at the moment. He hasn't quite found that spot, that murderous spot to Ollie Pope that did for him. It's in again, and Wokes drives again. Not quite into space. Square of the wicket in the offside. Sort of half stop, shamble stop.
Well, this is
Eventually
where
there's no run.
This is where, as a captain, as a team, you've got to kind of just reassess what's happening and go, OK, Chris Wokes has come out driving the ball nicely. You've got to let him have some bounces.
Why are you also not try coming over the wicket to him? He's going to be driving anyway, so you put
change
one
the
across
angle.
him.
Yeah, so angle change, length change.
Last ball of Shaheen Afridi's over. After that, they'll be back quarter of an hour, 14 minutes until tea. And Wokes survive. Here's Afridi into him, and he defends crabbily into the offside. Yazir Shah picks up at cover. End of the over. Wokes 13 from 10. Butler 25 from 23. England motoring, but they've lost a lot of wickets. So 147 for 5. More thoughts from Michael Vaughan, and then it will be Simon Mann to take you up to tea.
Yeah, great test match cricket. It's exciting stuff. Azhar Ali's he's having a little bit of a committee meeting here. He's going to continue with Yazir Shah, but they're not too sure about the fields that they're going to have set because Butler's climbing into them. 25 from 23, Wokes 13 from 10. 130 still to win. I summarised, Simon, if England continue in this fashion, they're only going to need another 20, probably 6 overs playing this way.
It gets a bit harder the closer you get, though, doesn't it? Suddenly you keep on playing this way. Sport is so fascinating, isn't it? The idea that about risk, and when you feel that you can just, throw caution to the wind. Really, that's what England have done because they were falling in a heap. A bit like 1981 when Ian Botham just comes out and plays and attacks and it comes off. Such a different game. Pakistan this morning came out and thrashed 32 runs in 15 balls. Yasir bowls, and there's a low sweep from Butler hitting down on the ball. It goes to short fine leg, rather missed out there. Well, Fieldy missed out, and straight to the fielder on the behind square on the offside. 147 for 5. Butler 25 not out. Field spread out. Yasir bowls. Butler nudges it away for 1. Wokes responds, calls him through. 148 for 5. 129 more required for victories. When it gets under 100, isn't it? That's the that psychological
Look at Dominic Bess.
area.
Winvis has Pakistan at 86%. And they've got 14% chance, according to Winvis.
It might change if this goes on for another half an hour or so.
These two are still there at tee.
Yeah, Pakistan might need tea, actually. On the other hand, one of these two might hit it up in the air fairly soon. Here is Yasir bowling. Wokes driving gloriously through the offside, out towards the hotel. That's gone for 4. That was a tremendous shot from Wokes, beautifully timed. I know that's his strong area on the drive through the offside, but that was beautifully executed. England's 150 is up, 152 for 5.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Since this pair have kind of played with real intent, the timing of all the shots has been absolutely perfect. Hit the ball hard. Head off on the boundary now.
Wokes to 17. 3 men out for Stokes. Long off, deep cover, deep backwards square leg. 2 close catches. Yasir bowls. Wokes stands up and dabs this away. They go through for a quick single. Yeah. Shan Masood coming round from short third man to his left-hand side, picks up and sends in the return.
Yasir Shah looks to me like he needs a breather. Bowled 18.4 overs. He's got 2 big wickets, Sibley and the big wicket of Ben Stokes. Might be that Yasir Shah has a break and they use Shadab Khan. Just every now and again, spin bowlers, particularly when they're expected to do so much on a pitch like this, it's just worth giving them a breather for a few overs.
With Buttler on strike. Yasir bowling round the wicket to Buttler. And Buttler goes for that sweep shot again where he hits down on it. It doesn't make good contact, goes past the wicketkeeper and dribbles towards short fine leg, and there is no run. It's not easy sweeping out of the rough.
That's the way he looks like getting out, doesn't it? Maybe a top edge sweep.
Yeah. Is it Shan Masood here at short fine leg? He's in the game very definitely.
Get ready.
Here's Yasir bowling to Buttler, and this time Buttler offers the pad. It goes ballooning away past the keeper down towards short fine leg. It's the end of the over. They don't attempt to run. There's no shot played. And England are 153 for 5 with 10 minutes to go until the tea interval. Wokes 18, Buttler 26. These two came together at 117 for 5 in the 45th over. So in just over 5 overs, they've put together, what is it, Andy, 36 runs?
36 in 31 balls. Yasir Shah, 19 overs in a single spell, 2 for 68. He had 2 for 39 from his first 15, and 29 have come from his last 4 overs.
So again, there's all sorts of tactics you could provide here over the wicket. Go bounces to Chris Wokes, I'd certainly do that. Someone like Josh Buttler, you could go, all right, coming out playing a few shots, go over and just pack the offside and fly it out wide of off stump, knowing that he's going to try and have a dash.
For now, it's conventional cricket. 2 slips of gully, 3 saving, 1 on the offside. Shaheen coming round the wicket again to bowl to Wokes. Gets a straight ball and Wokes defends it back to the bowler. And Shaheen picks up. And there's no run. Both the batsmen out there. Of course, they will be mindful of the tea interval coming up.
Yeah, but they don't want to think that
exactly.
Keep hitting. It's work for them.
Exactly. Why stop now? That's the thing. You tend to think, oh, get to the interval, but
keep hitting.
Yeah. Take the attack to Pakistan, because that is what has worked in the last 20 minutes or so. Still a long way off though. That 277. Wokes on 18. Shaheen bowls to him. And Wokes drives thick inside edge onto the pad. Goes away into the offside. So it looks as if Wokes is going to continue to play the same way. That was a bold shot. Didn't quite come off.
Yeah, what Afridi's done here, whether it's been a directive of the captain, he's gone straighter to Wokes. You can see Wokes is giving himself a bit of space to get to the leg slide to hit through. He likes hitting through backward point, kind of extra cover region. So he's giving himself space to use his hands. So Afridi's gone really straight on in the last 2 deliveries. Be careful of that. There's quite a big gap between bat and pad.
Nearly found it there, Shaheen. Goes in again, bowls to Wokes. Another straight ball that's driven very powerfully back and stopped by the boot to Shaheen Afridi. Stuck out his right boot and just limping for a moment. Deflected it to mid-on. And there's no run. Actually, Wokes' stroke there deserved better. It was another fine blow, really well struck. Right out the middle of the bat. Shaheen got the foot down.
Yeah, they've definitely said go straighter on him. He's crashed into his big wheel. I don't know how big his boots are. They're about size 12. What's the right foot? It's off his little toe.
It's one of those that could easily have broken a metatarsal or a toe, whatever. Here's Shaheen into bowl to Wokes. Wokes angles it away, finds the gap on the offside. He's timed that well. That's 4. Goodness me, it was no more than a push, but he's using the pace of the bowling Not quite so straight that time. He was giving himself a fraction of room.
Do something different.
He found the gap. 4 more. 157 for 5. 120 to win.
It's all been round the wicket. There's been no bouncers. Don't think there's been a slower ball yet. England are dangerous. You've got Don Best next. Jofra Archer. Another way Stuart Broad's playing at 10. Jimmy gets out there. Well, not convinced he can get too many. Cover point's going to stay on the boundary. I think that's a good move. You know, dealing in boundaries. Why not just put cover point in the boundary? You'd have extra cover on the catch if I was Pakistan. Just for that miscued drive. Going to go over the wicket.
Well, it's been an engrossing afternoon's cricket. This is Shaheen moving in now to bowl to Wokes from over the wicket. Wokes drives, still looking to be aggressive, hits him up to mid-on. Doesn't quite time that one as well. Straight at the fielder.
Just looking at Naseem Shah at mid-on, shining the ball. Is it going to be the 17-year-old after tea? Looks to me like he's got the ability potentially to just blow a tail away. Just an off-cutter, I think, now. Well, it's coming so hard at the ball. Just one of those cutters. You could see him ballooning one to extra cover or mid-off, mid-on.
Let's see. Naseem bowled one to Stokes earlier, and there was that shout for LBW. Deceived him. It's going down the leg side. Shaheen bowls a short ball, pulled away by Wokes. He was waiting for it. It's going out towards deep mid-wicket. Fine stop on the boundary. They come back for 2 runs. Oh, this is great cut and thrust cricket, this. I think Wokes knew it was coming sooner or later, and he was into it. Hit it very well in front of square. Going out towards the boundary, and the diving save. Is that Abid Ali out there? It is.
Yeah, it is,
well played. Very good piece of fielding. Saved 2 runs. 159 for 5 at the end of Shaheen Afridi's over. So he's gone 10 overs, 1 for 38. Wokes is on to 24 from 18 balls. He's hit 4 fours. And England bounding along here, but they're still well behind in the game. But as I'm saying, another half an hour or so of this either side of tea, and Pakistan will start to get a bit twitchy, because they must have felt that it's not game over at 117 for 5. But
I reckon they're getting a bit twitchy now.
Do you?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Sounds like a lot of runs, 118, but I don't think they're in any threat just at this stage.
No.
But I just know, the way I would be as a captain, you'd think, well, you'd be looking at the overs, another 15 overs of this.
Yeah. It's got to be that, though, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it continues. Bowls to Butler, who's back, guiding into the offside. They're through for a quick single. Works out to get skates on for a moment. Babar Azam going to his left in the covers.
But sometimes in these situations, you just bowl without actually just considering a few thoughts. Going, right, how are we going to get him out? How are we going to get Chris Wokes out? He's playing the big drive. All right, let's bowl some big leg spinners. Just toss it up outside off stump, pack the offside with a couple of catches. And if he continues to whack it past them, well, full credit to him. But there's a great chance if I get it right and give it plenty of revolutions, there has to be an opportunity of a miscued drive. Looks to me like they're going for something like that. They've put a cover point, they've got a backward point, a slip, short extra cover. Looks to me like they might be going for that option. Just a slip in place, so no short leg, no silly point. Cover point on the boundary, mid-off on the boundary. I think they're going for that. He's going to toss them up outside off stump, try and entice the big drive.
6-3 offside field, 160 for 5. Yes, he bowls outside the off stump. Wokes doesn't play. And the other thing, of course, here for Pakistan, you know, like tactics on the field. There's a tactic at getting off the field, having the tea interval just to break things up, just change the momentum of the day.
Can Chris Wokes leave 4 or 5 deliveries? Probably question whether he can.
Yes, he bowls. Wokes comes prodding forward, pushes it up towards mid-on. As a jogs after it, actually leaves it. Roll up to Shaheen Afridi at mid-on. No run, so England need a further 117. Pakistan need 5 wickets. Yasir bowls to Wokes. He has a short ball. He has to smack it away. Doesn't really time it, but he does find the gap. And he gets a single out to Naseem Shah on the deep cover boundary. So 161 for 5. These two closing in on a half-century partnership in good time as well. Wokes 25 from 21 balls, Butler 27 from 28 balls. Both have hit 4 boundaries. Yasir bowls, tossed up, Butler reverse sweep brilliantly for 4. What a magnificent shot that is. It could have been stopped by Shah Massoud. He rather dived over it, but it was hit so sweetly by Butler. It was really flighted by Yasir Shah. And Butler waited for it to drop and cracked it away. Magnificent, thrilling cricket shot.
Yeah, I think Pakistan after tea, these two are still there. I'm pretty sure the likes of Mohammad Abbas will be utilised. Maybe a bit of Shadib Khan. Yasir just needs a breather. Partnership's 48 from 42. It's going to all parts.
There's one more ball left in the over. It's 15:53 on the scoreboard. I'm not sure if they're going by that clock, but that suggests we have time for one more over after this one. 165 for 5. Yasir bowls to Butler. Butler stretches forward, tries to push a single into the offside. Too close to Babar Azam, who actually fumbles it. Went behind him only a couple of metres, so no real prospect of a single. And that is the end of the over. Butler is on 31. Wokes is on 25. The partnership's worth 48 in very quick time.
It is going to be Shadab Khan on the last over before tea. Surprised of how little they've used him. I mean, he cleared out the tail really with those googlies, Anderson and Broad. Is he just a hoover? Is that all he does? He hoovers the tail?
Well, they've got plenty of other good options, haven't they, before they get to him.
The way Yasir Shah's picked up wickets, I don't think he's bowled brilliantly in this Test match. I think he's bowled okay. I thought he bowled all right in his last spell in the first innings. Bowled all right today, nothing special. A couple of key wickets. I'm surprised they've not used Shadab Khan more.
I think Yasir's bowled 38 overs in the game, and he's taken 6 for... trying to do my maths, 140, is it?
Yep.
Here is Shadab bowling to Wokes. Wokes stretches forward to a leg break that turns a fraction. And sort of stabbing forward cautiously there. And it went running off the face towards backward point, and there's no run.
Yeah, now Wokes has to just see England into tea.
112 more required. Shadab bowls to Wokes. Wokes stretches forward, stuns that one. Runs into the offside, barely dribbles out to cover. There's no run. There is a deep mid-wicket, deep back with square leg, deep cover, and long off for Shadab bowling to Wokes. Very defensive. Couple of case catches though. Shadab bowls to Wokes. He goes back to a short ball, tries to force it away, doesn't time it, hits it straight at cover. Picked up by the skipper. And there is Babar Azam, I should say. There's no run. Where is oh yeah, Azhar's at mid-on, deepish mid-on. Shadab bowls, floated up, and it's hit firmly and stopped by Abid Ali at short leg. Wokes sensed a single at least there, hit that firmly into the onside. So 2 balls left in the over. Tea approaching. Shadab bowls to Wokes. Wokes angles it away and gets it away as well. Backward a square on the offside. They've gone for 1. That's all there will be. The throw's on its way. Shan Massoud, you had to chase after that one. 166 for 5. So that'll be it from Chris Wokes before tea. 1 ball for Butler to survive or reverse sweep for 6 or whatever.
This is why, you know, you should be playing a game here, Pakistan, bring everyone up for this last ball. And he hasn't. He's kind of just spread the field. There's 4 fielders on the boundary. 1 ball to go before tea. He gambled on Joss, but he's got himself down the boundary.
He's gone off.
5 fielders on the boundary, just a slip.
Gone to long on. You feel there might be an easy single on offer.
I'm worried Pakistan.
Shadab goes in, bowls to Butler, short and hoofed away by Butler, but he's picked out the man on the deep mid-wicket boundary. You feel he could have hit that almost anywhere for 4. It wasn't a great delivery from Shadab. Butler gets 1, hit it along the ground, walks off inspecting his bat. I think he knows there he rather missed out, but that single does bring up the 50 partnership. In a remarkable turn of events, England are back in this game after slumping to 117 for 5. Suddenly we've had this 50 partnership that's revived their hopes, and it's all on this interval after tea. This session after tea, I should say. There are 40 overs left. England require a further 110 to win, and Pakistan want 5 wickets. It is beautifully set up for a cracking finale.
Well, unless we get some bad light and don't rule that out with the way that the series has kind of gone, we're in for an absolute classic. I mean, this partnership's just got to continue, and you know, from the England camp, they'll just be crossing the fingers that it can last another 10 overs. If it lasts 10 more overs, you're within probably 60, 50.
Yeah.
And then it's just, can that tail just wag a bit for 50 more runs? High-risk cricket will create, I'm sure, an opportunity or two for Pakistan. And if you lose a butler in this situation, you know, it's going to be difficult for the remainder of the order. But, yeah, listen, watch, whatever you're doing, don't disappear. Go and have a drink. Come back in 20.
Just imagine the atmosphere actually in the last half an hour if there'd been people inside this ground. And actually, when Pakistan were taking wickets this afternoon, their supporters have been up as well.
Yeah, and
cheering.
they have one outside the ground with his saxophone singing Dil Dil Pakistan. You think he's still doing it, Andy? Or has he stopped? I think he stopped.
Getting a bit worried. Woakes and Butler's first 50 partnership in tests in their 14th innings together. Andy, what, 50 and how many balls?
49 balls it's taken them, and they've since they came together, that over from Shadab Khan was the first over that they've played without hitting a boundary, and they've had at least 2 scoring shots every over, so they've scored off just under half the balls that they've faced in this partnership.
Yeah, well, Butler's played I think he's played really well in this test match. I won't say he's batting brilliantly because I got accused of talking Root out earlier. It was all my fault. It had nothing to do with that tremendous delivery from Naseem Shah. It was all to do with the fact that I said Root was playing well. But you call it as you see it, and there we go.